Greetings, Bat Family, and welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you by real fans for real movies. You can find us all over social media on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast, you'll find us. And if you're a big fan of the show and you want to support us, you can do that on Patreon. You go to patreon.com/HolyBatCast. As always, a big thank you to our patrons. I got to give a shout out to a new patron this week, Mr. Edmund S. Edmund, thank you so much. It's very kind of you, and we really do appreciate you not only listening, but then taking that extra step to support us. It really means a lot. So thank you to Edmund. This one goes out to you, and thank you to everybody who's already done that. It just makes things so much easier, and I hope you know it's appreciated. So if you want to do that, it is on Patreon. If you don't, well, that's okay. I'll never know the difference. But thank you to everybody, and especially this week, thank you to Edmund. We're a proud part of the Real Fans Podcast Network, so you can check out those shows at rf4rm.com. And as always, I'm your bat host, Andy DiGenova. You can find me on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. It is finally here. We have seen Superman. I mean, you already know that. I did the spoiler-free review a couple days ago, but now it is time for the full review, spoilers and all, to talk about Superman that is out there. As of now, it's Saturday morning. People are seeing the film. People are reacting to the film. It's a very exciting time, and we're going to share our thoughts and feelings about the new film. Joining me for that fun, down there, just got out of his second viewing as well, like literally minutes ago, but he's here with us today. It's early here. It's late there, but he's committed, and I appreciate that. It's Brendan Lowe. Hi, Brendan.
How you going, my friend?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm really good. I said when we first got on the mics, I just literally just got home from the cinema from seeing a really friggin' good movie.
Great. That's a good feeling.
Yeah. I'm in a really good mood. I'm ready to talk.
Terrific. I love that for us.
Mr. Terrific.
Oh yeah. I'm feeling Mr. Guy Gardner. Speaking of Guy Gardner, Jamie's not here.
He's not
here.
He's here in spirit.
He is here in spirit. So, to all our friends at home, we really did try to get all three of us again.
Yeah.
We really, really did. And part of the problem is me this week because, my dear friend Dilip is in from out of town. And so I have a lot less availability than I usually have. And so there was just no way to get all three of us. And so Jamie graciously is like, you guys go on without me, but he did send in his thoughts on the film that we will share in a little bit so we can all hear how he's feeling, and then hopefully he'll be around for the next episode and he can share more of those thoughts, more of those reactions, etc., etc. I should throw it out there now, though, is next weekend I'm out of town, so there's going to be a little bit of a gap between this episode and the next episode.
I can't imagine what the episode after that's going to be. I imagine the Wayman mailbox is going to be full to burst.
I mean, it's already so full. So we'll see if we can make a dent in it today. But then, yeah, a lot of it's just going to have to wait till the next one. And I think the next one will just be Superman reactions and questions from listeners, which is fine. But before we get to that, we got to share our thoughts and feelings about Superman. So without further ado, it is time for us to review the new film, James Gunn's Superman. Superman was released Thursday night, as is tradition. Technically, the release date, July 11th, which we've known for years, but it is finally here. We've seen the film. We have a new Superman and David Corenswet. We have a new Lois Lane and Rachel Brosnahan. We have a new Lex Luthor and Nicholas Hoult. And surrounded by a heck of an ensemble cast playing, other superheroes or Daily Planet people or, all kinds of people. It's great. So You guys already heard my spoiler-free reactions on the last episode with Catherine. I'll share them again just in case you skipped it. That's fine. But I want to hear Brendan's spoiler-free reactions first.
I really, really, really like this movie. I don't know if I can say love yet, although I will say, and I think from what you messaged earlier today, I think we're on the same boat here, Andy. Like, I I really got more out of it the second time.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it more this time than I did the first time, and that's not to say I didn't like it. I was trying to explain it to Jess on the way home because she came with me, tonight for my second viewing. Is that any big movie like this that I've been waiting for a really long time and is really anticipated? So essentially, any Batman, any Bond, any Superman, stuff like that. My first viewing, it's always going to be a little bit odd. Like, I can always walk out of it going, yeah, I liked that, but I need to see it again because, you have all these, particularly with what we do with podcasting and stuff, like we talk about it ad nauseum from when they're announced now until when they're released. So,
Mm-hmm.
and we dissect everything. We have our own expectations, our own, what we think's going to happen based on everything that we've dissected, like I said.
Yeah.
And it's hard to that first viewing because you need to sort of get out of your head, which I find hard to do, and just be like, okay, so that's what it was. And then I need a day or so, like, or a couple of hours even sometimes to like just sit with it, realize what it was, and go, okay, now I know what it is. I don't have any of the expectations. I'm not bringing any baggage with me anymore. I can just go on and watch it and enjoy it for what it is. And that is 100% what I did the second time around. So, because I mean, it's fast paced. Like, and I said it to Jess when I came home on Thursday after seeing it for the first time, and I've heard a few people say it since. Like, it's like picking up a monthly issue of a comic. There's no real setup. Like, them, in terms of what they do in the movie, it's like one panel of like a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of exposition, and then it just grabs you by the collar, throws you into this fully formed world, and it doesn't let up until the end credits. It just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. Um, you know, After seeing it the first time, I would have imagined me sitting here and saying, somewhat to its detriment, and I would have liked some room for it to breathe a little bit more. I didn't feel it that much the second time because, again, I knew what I was in for. I picked up a lot more stuff on my second viewing, like little lines of dialogue and just little things that I missed the first time around. Um, so yeah, I really, 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 really like it. To put it in perspective, Man of Steel is a 5-star for me. After I watched this one the first time on Thursday evening, it's sitting at 4.5. And I did say in my little spoiler-free review on Letterboxd that I with future viewings, I wouldn't be surprised if it earns that extra half star and can sit on the upper echelon, shoulder to shoulder with Man of Steel. And man, I think after seeing it the second time, I think it might be there. I think it might have that extra half star. Um, the cast is superb, and David Corn Sweat is amazing. I think he took elements of there's elements of all the Supermen that we've loved previously in there. Like, you can see a bit of Reeve, you can see a bit of Cavill, um, you know, you can see a bit of Hecklin in there. Like, it's kind of like a best of, but in the best way. Um, Brosnahan is perfect as Lois Lane. Um, if Terry Hatcher's still my Lois, like, and obviously there's the nostalgia factor and everything with her, Brosnahan's like just underneath her, like the thinnest piece of paper between the two of them. Nicholas Hoult is by far the greatest live action Lex Luthor that we've ever had. He's outstanding. He is ripped from the pages of the comic. Um, there was a little bit of a twist. I'll save it for spoilers, but there was a little bit of a twist in his overall villain scheme that made me chuckle a little bit and sort of think, well played, James Gunn, like well played. Like we get the Lex that we've always wanted, but there's a little bit of Lex from the past in there. And the same as you with your spoiler-free thoughts, like my only real complaint slash nitpick about the movie is I wanted more Daily Planet crew.
Mm.
The supporting cast in the Daily Planet are awesome. Jimmy, they give quite a bit to, but I still would have liked a little bit more of him. He's amazing. A characterization of Jimmy Olsen that I didn't know existed in, I think it was Silver Age comics. Jay Yours educated me on the spoiler thread on Real Fans that he gets the ladies, which was
Really? I did not know there was comic book precedent for that either.
apparently there's precedence for it. Yeah.
I thought that was just a James Gunn fun new twist on the character.
No,
I did
yeah.
not know there was any
In my little, because I copy and pasted my spoiler free review from Letterboxd and put it in the spoiler thread in Real Fans. And yeah, Jake commented and posted a few comic covers from that era where he's getting the girls. So it's not just James Gunn, which I thought it was too. Very funny. Yeah, it's Maranpa Kent. Now, bit of a funny story. After I saw it the first time, I was talking in our group chat with Jamie and you and Joe and Eric, and I really liked the Kents, but I didn't love how they were sort of portrayed. To me, they seemed too hick. And Jamie said it best in our group chat. He's like, they're very simple.
Mhm.
And I'm not, I mean, obviously, again, Lois and Clark, like that's the Ma and Pa that I grew up with, but more so, like I know I'm never going to get that because that's such a product of its time. But like Ma and Pa from Superman the Animated Series and Justice League, like that's, my Ma and Pa Kent. And, that's sort of who I picture and who I hear when I read them in comics and stuff like that. This was very, 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 and again, I use the term and I'll, inverted commas, hick to me. And I didn't love that. But then talking to you guys and, you sort of, you all four of you were like, yeah, that's actually how people, is it the Midwest? Like,
Yeah. I mean,
like that's actually how they talk. And that part was actually very true to life. And I was like, huh, okay. It's just not how I've ever seen them betrayed before. But then again, with the second viewing, knowing what I was getting going in, I loved them. Absolutely loved them.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously just like a cultural thing. Like I didn't know that because I'm not from there, and also it's not how I've ever heard them betrayed before. But they're a bit yuck, and you know what I mean. It threw me. I did not expect that, and but yeah, second viewing, loved it. So yeah, really, really happy with what we got. Don't really have any major complaints. Like I said, I just would have liked to have seen some more Daily Planet crew. Definitely some more Perry. I think we
Yeah.
I would have really liked more Perry out of all of them. But they were all good. But yeah, Perry I think needed to play a bit of a bigger role, or I'd definitely like to see him play a bit of a bigger role in a future film.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll leave it at that for now because then we can sort of really dive in.
Yeah, well, I'll just address the Kents thing because it is a little jarring because we've never seen them portrayed this way. We've always seen them this very kind of idealized version, especially when you think about like Man of Steel. You had like essentially the beautiful movie star versions of the Kents, and so we've never seen them portrayed as like very real Midwest farmers. And it is a little jarring. I'm not going to lie. I was like, oh, wow. But again, if you've ever met people like this, it's not cartoonish. It's actually very realistic.
And that's what I didn't know.
Yeah. But it's different than what we're used to seeing. And so I understand oh, wow, this is this is different. You got to shift your perspective. So the
Mhm.
first time I did not dislike them. I still thought they were charming and I liked them. But yeah, it was like, oh, this is a different bend on that. And then to your point, when I watched it again, I liked them even more.
Mhm.
I will say though that, we agree in that I wanted more of the Daily Planet crew. I also wanted more of the Kents. And I think that again, that's my biggest issue with the film, which you've already heard my spoiler-free review. If you've seen me on Letterboxd, I'm with you. I
Oh, I
really,
heard it
really,
that you were recording with your favorite co-host. I heard it.
yeah,
Don't you worry.
yep. My favorite co-host. Sorry, Brendan. Um, but like that, I think is the biggest quote unquote issue with the film is we needed more time. We didn't need more time with the Daily Planet crew, but we definitely needed more time with the Kents. Because if we had had a little more time with the Kents, I think they would have come off a little more three-dimensional. And that I think would have addressed some of that initial like, like this is different, this is weird, because we would have gotten to know them a little bit better. In
Yeah.
the movie that's out in theaters now, you don't get a ton of time with them. But I was chatting with our friend Tim Rooney, and he said that he had heard that the initial cut was 2.5 hours. And I had said to you guys in our group chat is I was like, I would put money on the fact that there's like 20 more minutes of character work that all got cut out,
Yeah, and
specifically with those groups of people.
I think I even said in the group chat, like, and I know I've said it on this podcast before, like quite vocally. The runtime of a lot of modern movies today kind of gives me the shits. Like, I do genuinely think they're too long. Um, Particularly, that they don't have intervals anymore, and they give you these huge drinks and stuff like that. This is a rare case of even 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I could have done with like 10 to 12 minutes longer just to let a couple of scenes breathe a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it would be that character stuff that
Right.
they could have, again, not much, but just that little bit more, I think would have made a hell of a difference.
Yeah, completely agreed. And again, I think that you really do see it with the Kents and with the Daily Planet crew. I think that's stuff that was probably the victim of trying to get the runtime tighter. And when Tim said, "Oh yeah, like apparently the first cut was 2.5 hours," I went, "Oh, then that makes all the sense in the world. That's about what I expected." Um, Aside from that, relatively minor nitpick, I had a great time with the movie. Everything that you said about the first time is kind of weird because you've got to get over your own expectations. You've got to get over your own fan edit that's in your brain based on the
Mm-hmm.
trailers and commercials. You got to get over the, oh my God, what if they set up this? And oh my God, what kind of cameos are going to be? And but like all that crap that's in your brain and all the excitement of, 2 years of lead up, you got to get over all that.
Mm-hmm.
I still had a great time the other night on Tuesday night watching it. But yeah, you got to get over and go, okay, this is what the movie is now. And then I went again last night with Dillip and IMAX, had an amazing time. I liked it even more the second time. I think it flowed even better the second time. And we both agree that there was some opportunities for the movie to breathe a little more, but it was the quieter moments that really worked even better for me the second time. Not just the stuff with the Kents, but some of the quieter character moments between Clark and Lois I thought were really great. And the
Yes.
first the first time they didn't grab me as much. The second time I was like, this is a beautiful scene.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that stuff worked even better for me on that second time because again, you get over your own nerdy fan expectations.
Yes.
And so I had an awesome time last night. I really do. Like you said, I like this movie. I I am like a razor's edge from saying love it. Um I probably will get there. But yeah, there's so much to love about this movie and there's so much that it does great. Like I said in the spoiler free and you said the same thing and I've seen it from a lot of fans is it absolutely is a comic book brought to life.
Oh God, yeah.
when it starts, like you said, it's literally like you're opening the page and the very first image is the very first image of the movie. And then it feels like you're watching a comic book. And I mean that as the highest of compliments.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted that.
Yeah.
and boy did they give me that, and I had an awesome time. The cast, like you said, exceptional overall. There wasn't anyone I did not like. I loved the trinity of Superman, Lois, Lex. I thought they were all great. I loved the supporting players. I loved everyone. I loved the world that it created. I thought the action was fun and exciting and cool. I thought some of those flying scenes were awesome. All the eye candy was there. And I've said this in the past, but this is true too, is I love the eye candy. I'm a huge geek, okay? I want to see superheroes on the big screen. I want to see them fly and do super heroic stuff. I want to see what I used to read in the comic books in a movie. And this delivers that. But there also needs to be emotion and heart underneath that, because otherwise it's just noise.
Mm-hmm.
And this has that too. And so I loved the excitement. I loved the stakes, but it was the quieter character moments that really connect with you emotionally. And I was like, oh my God, like that, there's some really wonderful, quiet scenes in this that got me emotionally. And what this movie reminds me of, and again, coming from my mouth, this is a huge compliment. Take it as you will. This reminds me of the first Aquaman film, in that
Yeah, I can see that.
it is unashamed and unabashed about what it is. It knows exactly what it is. It knows exactly the world that it's in. And it just is. There's no apologies. There's no over explanation. There's no justification. This is the world that it exists in, and we're putting it all out there. It's colorful. It's fun. It's a comic book. But the first time I
Yeah.
saw Aquaman, go back and listen to my spoiler free, is I was like, God, I loved it, but I wish it had more room to breathe. I said that about the first Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back, and those quieter character moments really rose to the top on that second viewing. And I was like, actually, you know what? It is there. The first time, I think I was just so caught up in the whirlwind of it that I didn't appreciate them as much. And I feel the same way here. The first time, I didn't appreciate them as much. The second time, I really, really did. And it gets to me
Yeah.
emotionally.
And like I said in my review again that I did on Letterboxd is, I mean, in terms of brightness and stuff too, like I don't think there's ever been a Warner Brothers slash DC comic book movie that looks like this. I
No,
mean, yeah,
I don't think so
I
either.
mean, Superman 78, it's a different kettle of fish, but like even Aquaman, like I know it's probably brighter than I remember it, but I think just because it's underwater and everything, like it's still kind of like, when I say dark, I don't mean in tone, but you know what I mean. But like I cannot think of another DC movie, and yeah, Aquaman is probably the next closest that looks like this and feels like this, and just it's not a take, if you know what I mean. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously it's a director's vision and everything, but it's not a Nolan, it's not a Reeves, it's not a Snyder. They're not doing a take on these comic book characters. It's literally giving you the comic book characters as they're written, as we've seen them in the past, in on the page, and in this case animation a lot. And it's just doing it in live action on the big screen.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, like you said, it's in the best possible way, and it's a huge compliment that when I've said to people, when I worked on Friday, I saw the movie on Thursday, and I had a few people like, well, what's it like? And the first thing I'd say is it's very comic booky, but I mean
Mm-hmm.
that in a really good way, because yeah, I would say it feels like a monthly issue. You pick it up, there's the first panel, and you are just off to the races, and it doesn't relent for the next 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, yeah, again, and all that for me is a good thing. It's what I wanted from this. But James Gunn did not sacrifice character, story, emotion for just for the eye candy, and I think that
No.
that is a credit to him as well. So, there are a couple little James Gunny touches
Yeah.
that again, I think it was a much more measured approach than what we had seen previously, and most of it I was cool with. There's one, again, it's my other nitpick, and it's very minor, but I have one other one which I'll talk about in spoilers that I was like, oh, James Gunn, if you could have just done this, like you had to go James Gunn. If you didn't need to, you
I
could have just done
wonder if
this.
it's the same that complaint that Aaron had. I'd be very keen to.
Ooh, interesting. I'll
Yeah.
be interested to hear. But yeah, and again, but it's not that it's not good the way it is. I just think it would have been better if James Gunn would have not gone James Gunn on it. But I mean, speaking to the comic book unashamedness of it, I'm sitting there with Dilip last night and we're watching Guy Gardner, and I just turned to Dilip and I'm like, dude, we're watching a movie with freaking Guy Gardner. like, did you ever think that this would happen? And he's like, no kidding. No, I didn't. And when we were done, same thing. He's like, I give James Gunn credit for picking some of the most random superheroes to be in this movie. I'm like, yeah, Metamorpho. Who knew we were going to do Metamorpho? But here we are. So I loved all that stuff too. And to his credit, he even said, you heard some fan hand wringing about like how many characters are in this. Is it really a Superman movie? It is. I think it is
Oh, absolutely.
100%
Yeah.
a Superman movie. The Justice Gang is in it just enough. Would I have taken more? Yes, but I also think that they're in it enough where I also don't feel shortchanged the way I do with the Daily
I think
Planet.
they're in it just enough. Yeah.
Right, just enough. And the way they're used, I think, is just right. But yeah, like I think they work great, and I really like them, and I'm excited to see more of them. But to your point, and again, I brought it up on the spoiler free reaction, is there's not a lot of setup for anything.
No.
Like the Justice Gang just shows up, and now you got these other superheroes, and you get a quick little blurb. And I'm sorry, I don't think this is spoilery of being like, oh, and here comes the Justice Gang. They're funded by Lord Industries or whatever, Lord Tech, I think
Yeah.
whatever the name of Maxwell Lord's company is. That's it. That's all you get.
Mhm.
One line of dialogue, and it's like, and that's it. Go with
Yeah.
it.
It's like
We live in this world
the
that's
little
we know it's full of
square of,
superheroes.
it's not dialogue, but the little square of information you get in the comics. Like it's just a little 2 or 3 sentences, and that's all you need.
Well, I always loved comics when something like what that would happen. Another group of heroes or villains would pop up, and each villain was just labeled with their name, or each
Mhm.
hero was just labeled with their name. And it was like that, where they show up, and in a comic, it would say Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl. And that's all it would say. And
Yeah.
this felt like the movie version of that. Again, I don't have a problem with that. I appreciate that. It's just this is the world we're playing in, and it's all good. Everything's on the table, and it all is fine. I do wonder, like, forgive the term, but casuals coming in being like, wait, who the hell were they? I don't know if that's a
Yeah.
thing. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We'll talk about the music real quick, and then I do want to get over the spoiler wall. I really love the score. It came out the night of the Prime screening, or maybe it was first thing the next morning, whatever. I really love it. It's a very good balance of using the Williams theme in a new way,
Mhm.
but also being its own score. And I think the score is beautiful. And what I really love is that quiet emotional theme that they created. It's so pretty. And it plays in a lot of the Lois and Clark scenes, but it's just a beautiful piece of music, and it's used multiple times in the film. And I was like, listen, I love the big heroic fanfare. I think that's great, but the new music I think is really excellent too. So I am happy to report, as your resident score whore, that the new score is really great.
Yeah, I listened to it on I actually listened to it on Thursday morning before I saw the movie. I was driving around to a
Oh,
different movie.
beforehand.
Yeah, I was driving around to a different movie theater to get some collectibles for the Superman movie for a friend who lives in a different town who doesn't have that chain. And I was, in my new Superman jersey that I got from Joe, which thank you very much, Joe. And it was Superman Day, and I was just like, "Well, the new score's out. Oh, F it. I'm just gonna listen to that while I go for like a 40-minute round trip." And it was great.
Awesome. Yeah. I've been listening to it as much as I can. I put it on the car with Harley, and she can often be very demanding about what we
Oh,
play in
kids in
the
the
car.
back seat of the car. It's like, hey.
They're they're the worst of like, I want this. But I put on Superman and she allowed it, so I'll take that as a win.
That's good.
She's like, I want Minnie Mouse song. I'm like, that the Minnie Mouse song sucks, honey. I don't want to listen to it. All right. Well, there are lots of other things to say, but I don't want to risk spoilers. But if you're out there listening, you've seen the movie, but just in case you haven't, this will be your spoiler warning. You should see it again, especially if you want a big, fun, bright Superman comic book movie. This is that. But again, it also is, it's not just what it is not what critics of the Snyder versions were like asking for, if that makes sense. It is to an extent, but I was afraid James Gunn would overcompensate,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he doesn't, in my opinion. It's certainly brighter and more colorful, yes, but like it's not just everything's hunky dory and Superman smiling in every scene and everything's easy for Superman. In fact, things are pretty hard for Superman in this movie.
Yeah.
But that's where we get his journey. So yeah, I think it for me, it checks all the boxes as far as spectacle, story, heart, characters. So I had a great time, and hopefully everybody out there did as well.
You could argue that one story element from it is very much from the Snyderverse when it comes to Superman and the, the challenges he has to face of, what should and shouldn't he do?
Yeah. But also I appreciated, again, I saw a little bit of scuttlebutt from Snyder fans being like, oh, James Gunn's ripping off Jack Snyder. And I'm like, nah, I don't think so. It's also done in a very different way. And I think for to a different end. And like we said, when we ranked the Superman movies 2 episodes ago, is I was like, actually, you can trace that back to Superman 4.
Mm-hmm.
Of like how much should Superman get involved in governmental
like conflicts and stuff.
Yeah. It started in Superman 4 about Superman being like, the nuclear arms race, is this my business or not? And then of course we had a similar story in Batman v Superman with the conflict with the warlord in Africa. And then here there's another international conflict that Superman goes to stop. And that's not it's a big part of the story, but it's not the story, which I also thought was cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get over the spoiler wall so we can speak more freely. So everybody go check out Superman. I hope you have a great time. But we are going to speak freely about the film in 3, 2, 1. Before we get to our thoughts, let's share Jamie's thoughts.
Well, I was going to say, in the spirit of Jamie, I was just going to talk about the end.
Well, we can do that after we hear from Jamie, because I have not listened to his review. And so I wanted to save it to the spoiler section just in case he threw any spoilers in there. I could have listened in advance, but it's early. And also I wanted us to hear it for the first time together. If I can get the thing to work. All right, I'm going to try to play it from my phone so we can hear it together. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Here are Jamie's thoughts of Superman. Are they spoilery or are they spoiler-free? No idea. Let's find out together.
Greetings, Bat family. I hope everybody's doing well out there. The summer of Superman has officially begun. Welcome to opening weekend. I hope you all had a chance to get out there and catch the new movie. I just got out of my second viewing. Long story about how that happened. But anyway, my thoughts on the film. Wow, this was a really fun time at the movies. I know some people got into a weird trend a few years back thinking fun was a bad word. I've never thought it was a bad word to describe a movie. I watch movies to be entertained. Fun is part of being entertained. So I was really into this movie. Is it a perfect movie? Is it the greatest Superman movie ever made? Is it the greatest Superman story ever told? The answer is probably no to all of those questions, but it is probably the movie that this universe needs to be its kicking point for everything else. The cast is terrific. David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan, the Daily Planet crew. And most of all, I got to give a shout out to Nicholas Hoult. That is probably the best live action Lex Luthor I think I've ever seen. I was so impressed with him, the way he was characterized, the performance that he delivers with his mannerisms, just his personality overall. I think he's absolutely wonderful in that part, and I look forward to seeing more of him in the future. It's a gorgeous looking movie. I think it's very well directed. I think Superman in all of his powered glory is on display, probably more than I expected it to be. So that was a very welcome thing for me. There's a few nitpicks that I have about it. I don't know how in depth I want to get into it, but I'm sure as I ramble on here, some of them will eventually come spouting out. The score is wonderful. I particularly like the villain's theme or Lex's theme. I have no idea what the title of the track is called, but I really enjoyed the music when the villains are up to no good, as it were. So the score overall, I think, is a real attribute to the film. The set pieces, I think, are all great. People said, leading up a couple days before the movie was released, as some of the press got to see it and the premiere happened, that there was most of the stuff we saw in the trailers happens in like the first half hour to 40 minutes of the movie. And I'm like, wow, they did hold back a lot. And yes, that is mostly true, but also there's plenty of stuff that was in the trailer that happens later on in the film. So I feel like that was a little bit deceptive going in. But yeah, they didn't give away too much of pretty much anything in the trailers. So, I always appreciate that. There really weren't too many enormous reveals. Probably one of my nitpicks is the reveal of Ultraman's identity. And since I'm sure we're playing this over the spoiler wall, I guess I should present this as a lot of us being comic book fans and, knowing animated films and other feature films and everything, not being a casual fan. And I don't say that to be detrimental to those people, but, somebody who's just not hip deep in the lore like we are, maybe that reveal works a lot better. But for us, was anybody really surprised when that mask came off of him in the third act? I know I wasn't. So maybe a little disappointing there. I know there was a lot of rumors of who we thought it could be or really wanted it to be. But, when it ultimately happened in the film, it just kind of felt like, oh, yeah, I guess. Okay. But, the battle with Ultraman at the end I thought was solid. I probably could have used a little bit more of it, but you know me, I love citywide carnage when a fight's going on. Daily Planet crew, again, I thought that cast was great. I thought they, for the limited amount of time most of them were involved in the film, I thought they really brought quite a bit to it as far as characters and, helping out in certain situations. Particularly Lois and Jimmy, maybe a little bit more Perry and a little bit more Kat. I am not familiar with the actress who played Kat, but boy, do I want to be more familiar with her now. But anyway, the Kents, Ma and Pa Kent. I've seen a little bit of blowback, and keep in mind, guys, most of what I get from social media blowback now is secondhand information from people who are actually on it, because that's not me. But let me just tell you, growing up and living in the Midwest for my entire 50-year lifespan, I can tell you that rural communities in the Midwest, that's how a lot of the people tend to be. They speak with those country style accents. They tend to be more of a simple people, and I don't say simple to be like a slap to them. It's just the purity of those people and the simplicity and the morality of those people, I feel, was very well represented by the people playing the Kents in this film. So I don't, maybe a mistranslation. I know we discussed it with Brendan a little bit because he thought it was a little cartoonish, a little overly hicky, if you will. But, we had the discussion and ultimately came to terms that maybe it was just a cultural thing that he wasn't aware of. And I do think that's the case. Because, again, I have communities surrounding me, not my immediate city that I live in, but there are many surrounding communities where I live where the people are very much like that. So I thought the representation there was pretty spot on, and I was very happy with it. The Kryptonian parents being maybe not the moral compass that so many of us have come to expect over the years. A little bit jarring to some. There is a little bit of precedent for that in comics from time to time, depending on what stories you're reading. I'm not really taken with it. I'm not, yay or nay on it. I'm just kind of in the middle. What I do appreciate about that part of the story is it did drive the moral compass of the Kents raising Clark to be that much more effective and powerful. And, how Clark translates the message that he sees, that he only sees the first half of, to be what the Kents were basically giving him the example to be. So I think that strengthens the Kents as characters, presenting it that way. So, you can have your disappointments or whatnot with it. I understand, there's not going to be a movie that's going to appeal to everybody in every facet. This one, again, I don't think it's a perfect movie. I think it was really a good movie. Crypto, I made the prediction that I thought Crypto was going to be taking over the world, and he was definitely involved in the film to a pretty large degree. He was kind of a jerk, though. Those of us who have had puppies and dogs in our lives, we kind of, I'm sure, have come across dogs like that at some point or another. But he added a nice, entertaining element to it, and he was a solid character in and of himself. What else do I want to say? There were some shots in the movie I thought were terrific, particularly when the building is coming down as the rift is coming through Metropolis, and he saves that woman whose car won't start on the bridge by holding the building up. And then she gets away and the building collapses, and she looks back over her shoulder in the rearview mirror, and there's just that cloud of dust, and Superman rises above it as if to watch her and make sure she's okay before he goes and handle business. I thought that was a terrific shot, maybe my favorite shot in the entire movie. And there's a lot of standout shots like that. The battle with Ultraman at the end when he starts dealing with the Lexus Raptors and stuff. There were some really good shots in that, some good action pieces in that. I feel like there was 1,000 other things I'd planned on saying when I got on here. The engineer, I'm not familiar with that character in comics at all. I don't know much about the character of the engineer, but I thought she was pretty decent. What else? Brosnahan and Cornsweet have terrific chemistry as Lois and Clark. I think they really cast them extremely well. I think they're pretty much the perfect choices for this movie, the way they played off of each other. I've seen a lot of blowback out there just in general, not from just social media stuff, about political themes in the film. And is there some there? Yeah, I guess. But I mean, it's really not a one-sided political conversation that this movie's trying to, throw in your face for something. I really don't feel like it's that at all. I feel like people are just kind of getting out of that what they're taking into it. So maybe just ignore that and form your own opinion and see it for yourself. But what else? The Hammer of Baravia, that was what was he in the movie for 15 seconds? Yeah, so that was a thing. Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, I thought all were really good. I probably could have used a little bit more time with Hawkgirl, but Terrific and Gardner I think were absolute standouts, maybe the best of the supporting cast in the film. Gardner was portrayed perfectly. Mr. Terrific, I'm not as familiar with him as I am some of the Green Lanterns and other DC characters, but he seemed very much what I know of him to date. But Fillion just nails Guy Gardner to a T. I'm not a Guy Gardner fan, but I really think he brought that to life in the way that you would want Guy Gardner brought to life. Shout out to you, J. Oz. I'm sure that was one of your favorite parts of the movie. I thought it was kind of a brilliant twist, and from the moment she starts taking the selfies with Eve, if you watch it the second time, you're like, okay, so I see what she's doing now. I don't know that she's even necessarily doing it on purpose, but if she is, credit to her. And that was the ultimate twist in how they burned Lex at the end with all the information that she was getting with the selfies behind her. I thought that was a really nice touch. Man, I don't know. I feel like I could probably go on rambling for another 20 minutes, but overall, I'm very satisfied with this movie. I think it's a great film. It's a lot of fun. To me, this is the reason that we started going to superhero movies in the first place, was to have these big, absolutely fun times watching these event style films at the theater. And even though I'm not much of a theater guy anymore, I really feel like this was the kind of movie that I appreciated going to the theater to see. It just, the presentation was great. The feel of it, the heart of it, the sound of it, the look of it. Again, there are some things that I would probably change to tweak my own personal taste. But as I said again, it is really the movie that I think this universe needs to be the launching point. And I think they really did a good job. I think James Gunn did a terrific job in most aspects. You know, his humor can be a little much for me at times. This movie was no exception. But I don't ever think that his humor overshadows anything else in the movie at any point. I don't think it's ill-timed or anything like that. It's just sometimes it's a little, face-palmy to me. But, that's my own personal taste. But yeah, I guess the best thing I can say about this movie is I want more of everybody that I saw in this movie. I want more in this universe. I'm looking forward to see what's coming. The Supergirl thing at the end, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm a little skittish about how that movie's going to be presented when it comes along, but time will tell. We'll see. I can't really base it off of 20 seconds of screen time, but we'll see what happens there. Other than that, guys, I go see the movie. Go see it again. The more successful this film is, the more that we're going to get out of this universe, the more we're going to encourage the studio by showing them this is what we want. I know some people out there are just dead set against a new universe. You do you, but don't take the enjoyment away from people who wanted this universe. I wanted this universe. I wanted this tone, this theme. It feels so comic booky watching this movie, and this is really what I wanted. And that's not disrespecting what came before. And I know there's comic book precedent from the Snyderverse and the Reeves films. I get all of that. I'm not trying to disrespect that because I love those too. But this is, to me, the universe that we need going forward, and I'm just looking forward to see what shakes out next. So I guess that's all I'll say for now. The one thing I guess I will put out there is remember that brain beats brawn. Crypto, get the toy.
Okay, there we go. Thanks, Jamie, and we miss you. But no, that was pretty comprehensive, and I am glad I waited for the spoiler section.
Yeah, good call.
When I saw 13 minutes, I was like, okay, I'm going to assume there's something spoilery in there, and there was, so that's good. But so glad he liked it. I did wonder, about the James Gunniness of it all.
Yeah.
Which, again, I found to be very subdued. Like, maybe that's the right word.
Yeah, well, I've said too to a few people, like, you can definitely tell it's James Gunn, but he, to his credit, he doesn't go full Gunn.
Right.
And someone said to me,
Creature Commandos. It's not Peacemaker.
I said that to someone the other day, he goes, "Oh, okay, so more like Guardians rather than Guardians Volume 2." And I'm like, yeah, kind of, yeah.
I'd even say Guardians is more than this.
Yeah, oh yeah,
especially like as far as like jokes and comedy and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then I will say, I'll be curious to hear which of those jokes did not work for Jamie, because I thought there was nothing that was like funny that I was like, oh, that's too far.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't think of any. Crypto,
you a lot in the movie, which I was like, for a Superman movie, I'm like, okay, that's, it never bothered me, but I'm like, it sort of made me think twice about maybe taking Henry to see it. You know what I mean?
I guess. I mean, that I didn't even think about that. Catherine and I talked about whether or not we could take Harley. I think we could take her. Again, my concern is more just I don't know how into it she would be for the entire thing. Because once we go over 2 hours, I think she's that's a little long for her.
Same with Hen. Like, there's definitely parts he will love to see. Like anything where Superman's flying and fighting and the crypto stuff and the big flashy stuff. But the rest of it, it's not going to hold a 3 or 4 year old attention. I don't think anyway.
Right. So I don't think we're going to do it. But yeah, I mean, it is a definitely more of an all ages thing, which is good because that's what we've been saying that
Absolutely.
it needs to be. There's really nothing truly scary or inappropriate. The biggest thing is, now we're over the spoiler wall, is when Lex kills that poor man who
Yes.
helped Superman. That's a gut punch of a moment. But even then, it's done super, super wide shot. You know
Yeah.
what happens, but they're very careful about that. But yeah, I mean, that's honestly a great moment and a heartbreaking moment. And but I also appreciate that like Lex was like, oh, that went quicker than I thought.
Yeah.
I thought we would do this for longer. um but yeah, like that's the only part really where I was like, oh, that's kind of hard. But I also feel like it's done in a way that it, I think kids would mostly be okay. My
Yeah.
biggest concern is I thought Harley would be upset about baby Joey, because Harley gets upset when she sees babies cry.
Sympathetic. Yeah. Henry's the same. Sympathetic
Yeah.
crier.
Yeah. And so that would be my biggest concern is little baby Joey when Superman is got him in his hand during that whole big sequence in the Pocket universe. I'm trying to think of anything else that Jamie said that we want to talk about. Crypto is in
Just
this
the
movie
goodest
a
boy.
lot.
Yeah.
I love that Crypto is a is a good dog but a bad dog.
He's a real dog.
Yeah, which was again what James Gunn said is he's like, I adopted this dog and oh my god, it tore up my house and it took a while to get it housebroken, but we love him. And that's the version of Crypto is wild and is unruly and but he means well and he's a good dog, but he's figuring it out. And I liked that angle on Crypto. I don't think we've ever seen that before.
I
But
just love how like Superman's dude. Like just the
yeah,
way he
yeah.
dresses him, so good.
Well, I love when Superman is like, I'm going to turn myself in. And when I was talking about scenes that I really loved, especially on the second time, it's that scene of Superman and
Mhm.
Lois. Well, the Justice Gang fight is happening in the window behind them, which is just funny enough, but also kind of awesome. Where he's like, they've got it handled. That's not what I'm
It's
worried
just
about
an
right
imp.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like where he's like, I'm going to turn myself in. Maybe they'll take me where they took the dog. I don't know how else to find him. And he's like, he's not even a very good dog, but
He's
he's
not a
alone
particularly
and
good
he's
dog.
scared. Yeah. I love
I
that he's not
loved
a
it,
particularly
yes.
good dog. But that scene I thought was beautiful. It was like, it was still kind of funny, but also like really emotional. And I really love that.
Yeah, I got more out of that scene the second time as well. But it's, you've got the laugh of just like, he's not a particularly very good dog, But then the next thing's out of his mouth is like, but he's alone and he's probably really scared.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that is so beautiful. But that was one of the parts I missed the first time around when she said you've got a dog, and he said it's more of a foster arrangement. I didn't catch that the first time because my ears would have pricked up. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? But that's it's actually Supergirl's dog.
Yeah, I actually did. I mean, I picked up on that and I was like, huh. And then, again, I didn't give it any more thought than that until the end where I went, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Since we are jumping to the end, we do get a quick Supergirl cameo. And Jamie sounds like he's not quite sure how he feels about it because we've got truly young adult Supergirl.
Yes.
She likes to have a good time. And even Dilip said the same thing. Dilip's like, is she drunk? I'm like, yep, I think that's what they're doing. I thought it was funny. I also think it's very James Gunn, but I didn't mind it because again, I think that's James Gunn is trying to find the very human center of these characters. And he does it with Superman, which we're going to talk about in a second, which is, I think, a wonderful approach to Superman is like, he's a Kryptonian, but he is truly human, and here's why. And I think he's doing the same thing with Supergirl. Is she's 21, so she's in that stage of life where she's out having fun, and I assume that's going to be a big part of her journey in her own film. So it did not bother me. I could see it bothering some people who were like, who are concerned about that sort of thing.
I mean, it's not every day you see Supergirl call Clark bitch.
I love that. Thanks for watching him, bitch. That was awesome.
I cracked up. I thought that was very funny. I thought it was a cool little cameo, and I loved seeing it again tonight, knowing that was coming, And the second, like, he's like, oh, it's my cousin. And I can hear from like Jess beside me, like she actually like sat up in her chair. She was so excited. Like I got to sort of watch her enjoy it more than me enjoy it this time around. So that was kind of
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a characterization I didn't necessarily expect, but also I get what he's going for, so it didn't bother me at all.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, what was the nitpick that you were like, James Gunn just couldn't help himself?
The reason I think it frustrates me is because it is literally one of my favorite moments in the film.
Yes.
And it is the last moment in the film.
This is exactly the same complaint Aaron had. It's the use of the pop song rather than score.
Yep.
Yep.
I absolutely loved the ending of the film. I loved the bookends of the film, of it starting with him going back to the fortress and then playing the video of his Kryptonian parents because it soothes him, and then bookending it with them playing the video of his Earth parents because it soothes him. I think that is brilliant.
Yep.
I think it is a beautiful journey, a beautiful message. I absolutely love it. But he picked this weird, quirky Iggy Pop song that is okay. But if they'd have played that beautiful emotional score, but the big full soaring arrangement of it, it would have been even better.
It leaves you with a big smile on your face. With the score, it may have left you with tears in your eyes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference.
Yeah. So here's the thing. James Gunn only goes full James Gunn a couple of times. One of the times is during the Mr. Terrific action sequence where same thing. It's like James Gunn loves these like quirky pop punk songs. Like and it was all over Creature Commandos, which if you remember, I did not particularly like that.
That weird, like almost Scottish or whatever it is.
Right. It's like, it's like this weird where like the singing's kind of bad, but he likes that, I guess. And so like he did the same thing during the Mr. Terrific scene. And that was when I turned to Catherine. I was like, oh, there we go. Now we're going James Gunn. And Catherine goes, yeah, I'm surprised it took this long. But for the Mr. Terrific scene, I don't mind it at all. Don't mind it at all. I think it's a really fun, cool scene. That song is cute. Again, not necessarily to my taste, but it's cute. It works great. For the emotional
playing halfway through the soundtrack, I got to admit.
What?
Like I'm enjoying the score, and then all of a sudden,
weird, and then it pops
pop
up.
song comes on. Yeah.
But for the emotional finale of the movie, and they had already introduced that beautiful emotional score, I wish they'd have done that.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, it does harken back to how they've talked about earlier in the movie, how Lois says that she's punk rock, and Clark tries to claim that he's punk rock, and I didn't realize the band that he refers to in that scene, and the band that's the poster on his wall, is like a fictional band from the DC universe. I didn't know that.
It's not real, yeah.
And then the fact that they have a song over the end credits, I thought was kind of funny, but because it's not a real band. So, I mean, I get what he was going for with that, and it's sort of.
I do too, and the Iggy Pop song, or it's not just Iggy Pop, it's featuring Iggy Pop, but
yeah. It's not a bad song.
No, it's not a bad song. It's by the Teddy Bears featuring Iggy Pop, but the name of the song is Punk Rocker.
Yes. So and it's
I get it.
Humanity. I get it. But yeah, I do think Score would have worked better. Oh, that said, I am going to add that song to my DC playlist.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, and again, I liked it a little better the second time because I saw it coming. The first time I was like, oh my God, what a great ending to this movie. What is this song? That's literally how my brain went. Second time I knew the song was there, so it bothered me less.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just again, it's the James Gunniness of it. But I'm glad to hear that Aaron was with me on that, because I don't want to be like a Debbie Downer about it, because I still really love the way the movie ends.
Yeah, and like I said, it just leaves you with it. Literally, I mean, Superman. The last shot is him with a huge smile on his face, and twice in a row now I've been exactly the same. Like I'm sitting in this dark room in a recliner, just like grinning ear to ear. And I've heard a lot of people say that too. Like I've read some reviews and listened to a few spoiler-free podcasts and stuff, and nearly everyone has said, like, I walked out of the cinema with a huge smile on my face.
Yeah. I mean, I spent a big chunk of the movie with a huge smile on my face.
And look, I just as a DC fan, I don't think we've really had a win like this. Like Aquaman was a win, but I don't know. To me, this reminds me of the first Wonder Woman movie in that it's just got so much heart and like it just makes you feel good and warm and fuzzy. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, I don't think we've had. I haven't had this feeling for 8 years, and I'm really, really glad that it seems to be having the same effect and resonating with wider audiences, which is really, really cool.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, I think it is a lot of fun. It's incredibly warm. Just to put a period at the end of that point that we were talking about is earlier we were saying we could have used a little more of the Kents. Also, because of the way the movie ends, I felt like we could have used a little more of them. I think that would have served multiple purposes. So again, I wonder how
Yeah.
much stuff with Ma and Pa Kent ended up on the cutting room floor.
Mm.
So those nitpicks kind of all go hand in hand, but to speaking to the warmth and the heart of it, I thought the approach to Superman was really unique, but also kind of brilliant in that you know you said you could see inspiration from other versions of Superman. I guess I could too, but I appreciate that it is a new take on Superman in that, yeah, I mean, he is a simple guy from Kansas just trying to do the right thing.
Hmm.
And he's just trying to help. He's just trying to make the world a better place. And he doesn't have it all figured out. He doesn't know all the answers. He's not perfect. He can get frustrated. He can get mad. He can make mistakes, but he just wants to do the right thing. And to make Superman not above it all, but just one of us, but trying to do the best he can, I thought was a really nice and relatable way to approach him. So, again, I had seen a little bit like from the trailers where he gets frustrated in the interview with Lois, or when he walks into Lex's office and says, "Where's the dog?" And they're like, "Oh, this Superman has a temper." First of all, please watch the Christopher Reeve and Cavill movies. He loses his temper in those too. It's
Yeah, he
fine.
does. Yeah.
Um, but like, of course, he's got human emotions, and he thought he was going to stop a war to prevent people from dying. And he was, that's true. He couldn't be bothered to figure out the political
Bigger picture.
implications that
Yeah.
would follow. Because he just wanted to stop people from dying. For him, it's black and white. For the rest of the world, it's not. And that is the struggle that Superman is put in this film. And that, I think, is a brilliant way to portray and to explore the character. I think that that's great. And James Gunn said so. He said Superman is someone who is kind and good in a world where kindness and goodness are passé.
Yeah.
And again, to go back to that scene between he and Lois when she goes, "We're just so different. I question everything, but you see the good in everyone, and everyone you meet you think is beautiful." And he's like, "Oh, maybe that's punk rock." And that moment I thought was really beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think having this discussion, you kind of need to talk about his parents again. And when I say parents, I mean both lots of parents, because, and this is the one thing that I took out of it the first time I saw it, of, the Jor-El and Lara of it, where I'm
Mhm.
like, ooh, I don't know how people are going to react to that. I don't know. Because
Yeah.
I mean, look, that's a version I haven't seen before personally. Again, just reading some comments and stuff. Like, apparently there is comic book precedents for us. Like, I'm sure Jay Yours will know exactly what issue, what series, and whatever. So I'm sure we'll get the email about that. But to me, my only real exposure to Jor-El in particular being an asshole is Smallville. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, like the fact that they left this message, it got damaged on the way to Earth. Clark only ever heard the first half of it, and it's the Lara and Jor-El that we're used to. We've sent you to Earth, to help people and do good and all that sort of stuff. And then the second half comes out, and the first time I saw it, it's like, well, this is obviously like a forgery. Like Lex is using this to for his own will or whatever. And then the part that caught me was like, oh shit, this is actually, no, this is the message in full from Jor-El and Lara was,
The movie makes it abundantly clear because they have 3 different characters say, "No,
no,
the
it's
message
legit.
is real."
Yeah,
Yes, they,
is
they do
to
not want us questioning whether or not it's a forgery because multiple people say it's absolutely legit.
yeah, is that essentially if people don't follow you, kill them. Like, Lord, rule this world, like rule it in the name of Krypton. And, it is what it is. I mean, like you said, they make it abundantly clear that that's what it is. So it then even, like, to me, that then elevates the impact of the Kents, because
Yeah.
instead of like this loving family on Krypton and this loving family on Earth, there's push pull now. It's like, actually, the people on Krypton, didn't have humanity's best interests in heart. They actually didn't give a shit. But it's the fact that you were raised as a human. That's what makes you human. And that's what I love about. I mean, look, would I like to have seen Lex put on a power suit? Yes, I absolutely would have. And the fact that they're in the movie and he still doesn't do it is a little frustrating.
And once we had all seen the movie, the first thing I said is that these damn toys still be lying to me.
Yeah, there's no Yeti and there's no Yeti, power suit.
No power suit. Come on, guys. Although, again, I have a hunch that there might be a deleted scene where we saw a Yeti. Because not only if it was just the toy, I'd go, oh no, they just made up the toy. But it's also in a book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like a children's book that has the Yetis in it too. And that's why I was like,
is that the prequel novel?
No, it's like literally a children's book with like.
Oh, okay, because I know it's like it's a junior novel.
Yeah,
okay,
I didn't read the prequel novel. Maybe it's in there too. I have no idea. But
because I do want to pick that up, even though it's a kid's book. I do want to read it.
Yeah, because it was in the kids' book plus the toy. I went, oh, there's probably a Yeti in here, so I do wonder if he got deleted.
But yeah, like I was saying, it's that the big climax of Lex and Superman isn't this big throwdown fight with Lex in a power suit. It's Lex, spewing his vitriol at this disgusting alien. And I just, the turn is like, and how Superman's like, no, like, that has always been where you're wrong with me. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but he's, I wake up every morning and I don't know what I'm going to do, but I manage to put one foot in front of the other and figure it out. And I make mistakes along the way. And that's what makes me human. And it's just, that's when the whole, even in my first viewing, that's when the whole twist on Jor-El and Lara, that's when it landed for me. I'm like, okay, like, it's really cementing the fact that, okay, he may have been born somewhere else, but that's not who he is.
Yeah.
And I thought it was brilliant. Like, I really, really loved it. And just that speech that he gives to Lex is awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Is it on the nose? Yes.
Of course
but
it
I
is.
also, but I also love it because I mean it is summing up this take on Superman and what it means to be human for all of us. And that's what I love is like what Superman is going through is what all of us go through every day is we get nervous, we get scared, we get anxious, we make mistakes, we get angry, but all we do every morning, we put one foot in front of the other and try to do the right thing. And so he has never been more relatable than he is in this movie and especially in that moment. And when he says that, it's, yes, it's underlining the point, but I also think it needs to in that moment. And I also love when he goes, and Lex, I wish that for the sake of the world, you would realize that's your strength too.
Mm-hmm.
But Lex is still looking gone to accept
he's still looking for the good in everyone.
Yeah, I mean, and I appreciate that throughout the film. Like, he's still trying to look for the good in Lex after Lex just spent an insane amount of time and money and effort to try and murder him. He's still trying to look for the good in him. And in the middle of that big final fight between the Engineer and Ultraman, which is a pretty awesome fight, but during that fight, he's like, it's not too late. You guys can help. Like, you don't have to do this. He's still trying to appeal to their better sense.
There's two things that I just thought of while you were saying that. And one of them is, he wants to save everyone. Like, he saves a friggin' squirrel at one point.
I love that. I love when he saves the squirrel.
He wants to, he doesn't want to kill the
The kaiju.
kaiju.
That was awesome. And again, to me, it's very James Gunn. The little kaiju before he grows up, where he kind of runs, he's like, ah, la, 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 la. I was like, oh, there's Harley. There she is. But then when it gets big and it's creating destruction, it's like, we feel for it. And so when Mr. Terrific is like, no, we just have to take it out. And Superman's like, oh man. And like the disappointment and sadness in Superman's face when the Justice Gang just are like, we just have to kill it. Like, I'm sitting there feeling bad for the giant kaiju.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love that moment, is that, yeah, like Superman's like, listen, of course we need to stop it, but I wish we didn't have to do it that way.
And even when he admits that he might have had to kill it, he wanted,
to find a better way.
Yeah, to do it. The other thing, and this is what I sort of alluded to in my spoiler-free stuff that made me go, well played, James Gunn, with Lex, is a huge part of his plan, and it's very much the diabolical Lex, the genius Lex, the businessman Lex. He still wanted friggin' land.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
That made I chuckled.
Technically, yes, but
it's part of a bigger plan. It's not the end game. It's part of a bigger plan, but he still wanted land. That's where I was just like, okay, because that's always bugged me. It's like, really, like, particularly in Superman Returns, it's like, really, we're doing the land thing again? And when it said, he'll get half the country and stuff, I'm just like, James Gunn, you son of a bitch. Like, you've still managed to work the land thing in there. But I was like, you know what? Well played. I cannot complain about it this time at all. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah. Well, and I loved when Lex was like, oh, no. I'm not killing you so I can get my land. I manufactured all of that so I can kill you. That's what this is about. All he cares about is killing Superman, because Superman, what does he say? You show us how weak the rest of us are, and that's not okay. And yeah, like when Nicholas Hoult goes for it in that finale, I think it's great too. So same. Would I love to have seen him in a power suit? Sure. It's hope springs eternal, but that's not what this story is. And I love that Lex is the villain of the movie. It's a Lex that we haven't quite seen before, but it's a Lex we all wanted to see. Mm-hmm. But he still has the engineer. He still has Ultraman. So it is brains and brawn, not just brains over brawn.
Yeah.
And so I thought that flawed. I thought that was really excellent. The engineer, when we saw like set photos and stuff, I was like, okay, that works, but like, black bodysuit feels like always kind of the easy way to go. But what I really loved is when she kind of lets the nanites go and her hair gets all spiky in the back and she kind of gets those spikes everywhere. And then she starts looking
like Livewire
a little bit, but she also looks a lot closer to the engineer in the comics. And I went, oh, great. I love that it's more of a transformation than it is like her permanent look. So I thought that was really clever. I really dug I didn't know how I felt when I first saw it, the Ultraman kind of bodysuit mask and everything. I didn't know how I felt, but it really grew on me.
I mean, it's there to set up the reveal.
But I will agree with Jamie, and I think that we all agreed. And I'm not shocked that this is where it went, because it's what I said, a month or two ago, where I went, if they pull that mask off and it's just David Cornsweet, it's going to be disappointing. And sure enough, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But it was also always the most likely answer. Yeah. And so again, that's where like you let your hopes and your fan theories get the best of you. And it's like, no, of course that's what it is. That's what makes sense. But it would have been nice if it was a bigger, oh my God, but it's not. And it's okay.
Were you kind of wise to it with the whole, like, that's how they got into the fortress? Like, were you sort of onto it then, or you still weren't sure?
I wasn't. I didn't even think that far ahead. Like I do not watch a movie, try to figure out the ending. I don't. I just watch it.
Same.
And so when he has access to the fortress, I did go, oh, I wonder how he got that. Because I didn't.
Same thing. I'm like, how the hell is he doing that? Is he not going to tell us? Like,
yeah. And I mean, obviously I knew we were going to find out, because that's how movies work. But no, I did not immediately go, oh, it's because Ultraman's a clone. I didn't think that far. And then when it happened, I went, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And I I thought that was really smart. But Joe and Eric were like, "Oh, we knew. As soon as the fortress opened up, we knew."
Of course they did. You know, always got to try and one up us. You know, bloody
I know, sure,
podcast laws.
guys.
One thing I did want to mention too before I forget is we got an Otis. He dropped the
I
name late.
know.
We got an Otis,
I know.
and he wasn't a bumbling dickhead, which I really appreciated.
So, yeah, they did not say his name till the third act, and then when he says Otis, I went, "Oh my god, I didn't realize that." So I thought that was really fun. Do you happen to see what his full name is on IMDb?
Otis Berg.
It's Otis Berg.
Yeah,
which I think is great. I think that's great.
And the other thing is obviously with Eve.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but when she's in the closet, whatever, texting, sending all the information to Jimmy, and Ultraman hears her, like, just before the door opened and Lex grabbed her, there should have been a Miss Tessmacher. Like, there should have been, you know, that little nod in there. I think that's a missed opportunity.
I agree. I wish he'd have said it at some point because they never say Tessmacher.
No,
they just say
not
Eve.
At all.
So yes, I agree that they should have said it. But back to something I said earlier is that even though, yes, there's some inspiration from the Donner films. Yes, I don't even know if I'd call it inspiration, but there's a little bit of overlap with the Snyder films. You can see little bits and pieces from other versions of Superman in this movie.
Well, he's nearly 90 years. Like, you know, it's gonna happen.
Right. But somehow this version, this world, this movie feels unique unto itself. It never feels like James Gunn is aping another Superman that we would rather be watching. And I really appreciate that because we have had so many versions in every form of media. Mm-hmm. And I love that this still feels like a very unique version of Superman, even if they use the John Williams theme.
Yeah. And you know what? How you say about, you know, another version you'd rather be watching or something, like when I watched it on Thursday and my thoughts after it and everything is, you know, like I said, that half star comparison with Man of Steel is I never felt the fist bump moments like I do in Man of Steel, like, you know, like in the fight with Zod and the battle in Smallville and stuff like that. And like, you know, when he's, you know, fighting the gravity machine and everything and, you know, the laser beam and that sort of stuff. Like, to me, it didn't have moments like that in it. And I left it and I'm thinking, do I like it as much? Is it just as good? And I'm like, you know, if I have those two, if I have those two movies sitting on the shelf, which one am I going to grab? And my answer on Thursday night was like, oh, you're probably still going to grab Man of Steel. After seeing it tonight, and again, not being in my head and everything, a lot of the fight scenes with Ultraman and stuff like that, they're pretty friggin' epic. Like, I really enjoyed them more the second time. And you know, like, and that's the thing. I actually, in that scene with Lex at the end that we were just talking about, when Superman's giving that speech, literally, I said in my brain, it's just like, no, I will be reaching for this movie. Like, and I'll be reaching for them. They're two very different takes. I don't think one is better than the other. They're just very different. And it will be a Sophie's choice of like, if I feel like watching a Superman movie, which one do I want to watch? You know what I mean? Like, I'll be spoiled for choice, in the best possible way. So, yeah.
I am having the same internal debate, which is so silly because who cares? But, you know, I said on our ranking episode, for me, Superman the movie and Man of Steel, for all intents and purposes, are tied.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a 3-way tie now. I can't say this is better than those, but I also can't say it's worse. It's just different.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's just like what flavor of ice cream I'm in the mood for.
I was just about to say ice cream.
So because I think it absolutely sits next to those two. But I can't say it's better or worse than them. And maybe I need to sit with it longer. Maybe I need to see another time. But it's interesting because it's a very different movie than those, but that doesn't make it better or worse. And so that's sort of the the conflict in
And
my
this is the
brain.
thing, like, I don't want to harp on about it. I don't even want to really give them any mention at all. But the section of fandom that have been rallying against this movie, that, you know, are poo-pooing it with reviews, you know, calling it like just like watching Batman and Robin. It,
That's insane.
I
That's like you want me to completely not take you seriously, say that this movie's like Batman and Robin, because that's a level of hyperbole that means you just have it out for this movie.
yes,
Give me a break.
like, but here's the thing. I really like the Christopher Reeve movies. And when the, you know, including, you know, we'll throw Brendan Routh in there because I do really like him in the role. I really like Man of Steel. And, you know, those two versions are very, very different from each other. And guess what? Now I have a third version and I really, really like it too. So isn't being spoiled for choice and isn't having like three distinct versions that are still in their own way true to the character. We've had it multiple times with Batman. Like, isn't this a good time to be a Superman fan? Isn't this a great time to be a DC fan? Because now we have another Superman movie that we can add to the list that is different from what we've had before. And it's awesome. And guess what? Man of Steel is still awesome. And guess
Yeah.
what? The Reeve series of films, for the most part, are still awesome. I truly don't get it. Like, yes, I understand the fact that, okay, the previous universe, it didn't work out the way people wanted it to. There was some more meat on the bone there that we were promised that we never got. And you know what? Yeah, it sucks. I sympathize with you. I was as disappointed as everybody else that week after Black Adam when it was like, oh, you know what? Actually, Henry Cavill's not coming back. I think we had a podcast about it, man. It sucked. But you know what? You can't change that. And like I was just saying, now we have another version that's legit, that's really good. Just enjoy it. You know what? You're allowed to have your preferences, but it doesn't mean you need to shit on everything else. That's all I want to say.
Even if you didn't like this movie, and that's okay, you don't have to like it. Like, you know, there are a lot of movies that people don't like and people disagree on. That's fine. The good news is the movies you do like, they're still there.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere. So you gain nothing from railing against and campaigning against a movie that you don't like.
Yeah, it's just a weird way of thinking. Anyway, carry on. We don't need to talk about them anymore.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I can't not talk about the best scene in the movie.
Okay.
The best scene in the movie
Is Cat Grant jumping up and down in the ship at the end?
Yes, it's that. And Steve Lombard going, "Why don't I have a seat?" I love Steve Lombard. I want more of him. But no, I'm not even being facetious. It's the scene that killed me on Tuesday. It killed me again last night. It's the scene between Clark and his dad.
Yep.
Clark and his dad on the porch while Clark eats a bowl of cereal. Oh my God, that scene was amazing.
Gardner eating the cereal in the diner, wherever he is. Sorry, that just made me think of it. That was so random, and God, it made me laugh.
But yeah, like I love that you know, he's a dad, right? And he's an older dad, and older dads, like, they don't share their feelings. They, you know, don't be a stranger. Tell them don't be a stranger. I love that. Like, that's what those dads say. That's what my dad was like. You know, I know my dad loved me. I don't think I remember him ever saying it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And that's Gen X, right? Like, our dads are like, yeah, we show you we love you. We make sure you're fed and we make sure you're safe. That's all we do. And so I appreciate that, like, yeah, this Kansas farmer dad is, you know, he doesn't show it when we first meet him, but I love that Martha outs him being like, oh, he's a big mush when it comes to Clark.
Yeah.
And so him sitting down next to Clark and telling him, he's like, yeah, we went out and got burritos and the burritos were good. I was like, yeah,
The
that's
way
what
he says burritos
that's
is really funny too.
that's what freaking dads talk to their sons about, because they can't talk to them about their feelings. And then when it starts getting real and he says, it says more about you from what you wanted to hear from that message. And we're not here to and again, I'm paraphrasing, but we're not here to tell you who you are. We
Parents
give you
aren't to tell what
tools.
their kids are, and
Yeah.
you make a fool of yourselves on your own or something like that. And like,
Right. But like, then when he that shell cracks and he has that moment with his son, I was bawling.
yeah, like he's trying to tell him that he's proud of him. He's never been more proud of him.
Yeah.
It's
And that was
beautiful.
Yep. So like, yeah, that just destroyed me, like in a good way, but like, it's so beautiful. And when he says, yeah, I'm so proud of you, son. Like, oh,
I noticed it the first time around, but it really hit me again tonight. And particularly having Jess there, because we were thinking the same things. There was two moments with Jonathan and Martha in the final part where you're seeing all the home video footage. And the one is where opens the present and it's this little boy holding up his toy dinosaur. Because that is literally Henry at the moment. And the other one is when Jonathan's holding him up like every dad does to their kid, and he's doing the Superman arms.
Yeah.
Like, that was just beautiful. Like, to me, that was, in Man of Steel, it was him doing the arms akimbo when he had the red cape on his back. And that was this in this movie. It's like Jonathan holding him up and him doing the arms. Oh, man. Like, yeah, it's the moments in the present in the movie and in the past with Jonathan and Martha as well are just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yep. And in that final montage of him being surrounded by his parents' love, like, is again, what a beautiful note to go out on. Unexpected, but like so well conceived, so well thought out. So yeah, like that scene killed me. And then it went right into the kids putting up the flag and calling for Superman. And
yes,
the tears just kept coming. Like, that whole sequence. Oh my God. It really got me.
That really felt like one of the animated movies to me. All the war stuff, like, not the theme of the war stuff in the movie, but like the actual physical scenes of the war in the movie. It felt like one of the DC animated films in a good way.
Interesting.
Yeah. But no, have we really talked Lois yet?
Not too much.
I know we covered her a little bit in the spoiler free.
Yeah, we certainly mentioned it. We mentioned that amazing scene between the two of them. But yeah, Rachel Brosnahan is Lois. Here was something I noticed and love about Lois Lane in this movie. There is never a point where Superman saves her.
No.
Because that's such an old cliche, right? Like, at a certain point, Lois Lane's going to get herself into trouble, chasing a story or whatever, and Superman's got to come save her. And it feels like a conscious choice of like, no, Superman doesn't have to save this Lois. And I love that. It's Rachel Brosnahan, awesome. I think she's great. I can't wait to see more of her, but I think she's really great in this. It's a very, like David Cornsweet, I don't feel like she's trying to emulate anybody. I think she's just doing Lois the way it feels real to her, but I think it works. But I love that this is a Lois where Superman turns himself in. He's trying to do the right thing. And immediately she's like, well, we need to help him. We need to save him. And she goes to the Justice Gang. And they're at the Hall of Justice.
Hall of Justice, which is just getting built.
They're at the Hall of Justice. I freaking love it. That was what Jamie sent to me the night that we saw it on Tuesday. He goes, I'm about to go to bed, but I'm just going to say this. The mother effing Hall of Justice.
And again, it's not a take. It's not a take. It's literally the Hall of Justice.
It's the Hall of Justice. But yeah, I love that Lois is like, it is now up to us. We need to help Superman, and how are we going to do it? And I love that, yeah, she goes up after the Justice Gang and she's like, you're supposed to be his friend. So yeah, I think she's smart. She's strong. I appreciate that they just started dating, so they're still figuring it out, which I think is a cool take on their relationship too. But you could also see the passion there. When she comes home and she realizes he's cooking for her and the way they kiss,
man. Yes, you could see it.
Yeah. So no,
I was talking to the other day, because I've talked to so many people about this movie. And they were just like, they wouldn't be surprised if behind the scenes David and Rachel were just absolutely getting it on, because they're, I mean, they're both married and, but like their chemistry is off the charts. And I remember like way back, like when the casting was announced, like there were 2 sets of people and it all came down to the chemistry tests.
Yeah.
And they've definitely, I mean, I don't know who the other people were, but I can't imagine, they've definitely made the right choice, because the chemistry between these two is, whew, you can feel it.
Yeah.
And at the end too, like when they say, and Perry in that scene, he just gives that, like, he's got, he's always got the cigar in his mouth, which is an odd choice for a movie in this day and age. But he sort of raises his eyebrow and turns around, and it's like this split second thing. If you don't see it, you don't see it. And I'm like, shit, does he know that that's Clark? He doesn't know it's Clark, but he knows that he and Superman are getting it on.
Yeah, I love that.
It's so really funny. Like, yeah.
No, that final kiss of them floating in that I don't know what the building is,
like
but whatever it is.
Sort of, yeah.
It's really cool. I've been seeing like behind the scenes shots of them doing that on the wires and everything, which is really neat. But I mean, Perry White, sorry, real quick, and then we get back to Lois. But speaking of why I think there's deleted scenes, is early on in the Daily Planet, it is so passing in quick, but you hear Perry say to Jimmy, call me Chief.
Don't call me Chief, yeah.
But it's so quick, it's not even the focus of the scene. And then at the end, where he's like, call me Perry, I'm like, oh, I think that was like a running thing that ended up on the cutting room floor, because in the final film, it's like, it's kind of a weird moment, because you're like, what? Oh, yeah, I guess he said that thing at the beginning. But it feels like it was supposed to be a bigger moment of him telling Jimmy to call him Perry.
And like, because who's the other guy that goes into the ship with them? Like,
that's a great question, because they treat him like he's a character we should know, but I think that his scenes must have gotten cut.
Yeah,
because it's all the Daily Planet crew we know, and then that guy.
Yeah,
and so I feel like, I think we're supposed to know who that is.
I had the same feeling.
But anyway, to go back to Lois and Clark, we saw in the trailer that interview scene, and it happens really early on in the film.
Alternate shots too in the trailer.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I appreciated that, where Superman, again, he thinks it's a very simple thing. What? I stopped a war. I helped people. So I'm happy to be interviewed, because I can absolutely answer those questions. And then when she actually challenges him, and it isn't afraid to challenge him, and it doesn't go as simply as he wants it to go, I think it's a great character moment for both of them, of her being like, listen, you're my boyfriend, but that doesn't mean I'm letting you off the hook here. And he is like, and just the back and forth of like, hey, you can't use that. Hey, I told you that in confidence.
Yeah.
Like the back and forth between them in that scene, I thought was really great.
That line where Clark, when she's like, how do you think this is going so far? And he's like, I think I'm doing really well.
I think I'm doing a good job.
It's like, ooh, buddy, no. Don't say that. It's just going to fire up more.
Right.
But that scene's really good too. Like, it's funny. Like, it's funny with, yes, they're back and forth. And the whole, like, well, you can't say that. And she's doing the whole, like, you got to say off the record and everything. Like, it's funny, but it's also pretty serious. Like,
well, it's both. That's just it. Is it
well balanced?
It starts playful, and there are little moments of playfulness, and then the more it goes on, the more frustrated you see him get, and you understand why. And like the journey you go through in that scene, I think is really well done.
So good. So but like you said with Lois, like, to me, it's kind of more the animated series Lois, but she has to get rescued all the time, which this one doesn't. But yeah, it's, again, to me, I think this is a Lois we've kind of always wanted to see. And like, just the little thing, like literally just putting her in a purple cardigan, it just makes her just that little bit more Lois as well. Like, because we're just used to seeing her in purple, and it's great. It's like I said in the spoiler thing, like I don't know. I still think Terry might just have her for me, but again, there's a lot of nostalgia there. But she's phenomenal. She's so damn good, and I can't wait to see more of her in future movies.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I I love that she and the Daily Planet crew are flying around in a flying saucer during the finale.
Can it not be stupid?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
somehow,
Like if you told me that
yeah.
18 months ago, that'd be, I'm like, what? But it works, and it makes sense, and at no point does it feel dumb.
Yeah, it does. You mentioned Jimmy Olsen at the beginning. Jimmy does get the most to do. You said that apparently there's precedent of him being a bit of a ladies' man. I've never seen that.
Yeah, if you go to the spoiler thread in Real Fans and see my review, the comments on that, Jay's posted covers, and I think there was even somebody else who commented and is like, "Yeah, no, like he used to always get the ladies." I'm like, "Oh, fool! I've personally never seen it, but
right, I always seen him as to be kind of nerdy."
Yeah.
I love when he sends the selfies to Lois and she's like, wait, this is the girl who's obsessed with you?
Like, how do you do it?
How do you do it, Jimmy? It's so
what
funny.
Like, this is something I didn't notice the first time too. Like, what's she in his phone? Like alien toes or something?
Mutant toes.
Mutant toes. That's right.
Mutant toes,
Killed me. I didn't notice that the first time around.
I thought that dynamic was hilarious.
Yes.
Where when he's like, "You owe me. You don't even realize how much you owe me." And when she's like, "Okay, but promise me we get to spend time together this
He's
weekend."
like, well, how much?
I totally felt that. I just thought it was hysterical.
He's like the whole weekend. It's like, dude, we're literally trying to save the world, and you're still concerned about spending time with this woman who's nuts. But like,
it was so funny. But yeah,
I mean, look, I'm just going
to
be the red-blooded male for a minute there. Like, dude, spend the weekend with her. Like,
I mean,
have you seen her?
Yes, but why I thought it was funny is I have known those girls.
Yeah.
it's the old How I Met Your Mother hot crazy scale.
Yeah.
I have been there where I'm like, I don't care how hot you are, I cannot be around you.
I just feel like I could suck it up for 48 hours.
Well, yeah, I mean, if with the planet at stake, yes, you can suck it up for 48 hours. But oh my god, that killed me. So I got to share this. Like I was messaging with Tim Rooney, and I got to give credit where credit is due. Tim goes, "So James Gunn, how are you going to make Jimmy Olsen like kind of cool and not lame?" And then he just put, "This Jimmy fucks."
He's not wrong. Which, like, at the start where those few girls in the office like, "Oh, he's so hot," and I'm like, "We looking at the same dude? Like, what?" And then then with the whole thing with, when he sends the message, I'm like, "Oh my god, he's shacking up with Eve." I'm like, "Jesus, Jimmy!" But I loved it. I genuinely loved it, and that was before I knew there was comic precedent. So I thought it was great.
Well, I loved Jimmy in general. I like Skylar Gisondo. I think he is great.
Oh,
I think
he's another one. When they announced him as Jimmy Olsen, and it's like, who's that? And then I saw the photo. I'm like, perfect. That guy. And I'm like, oh, Christ. Of course he's Jimmy. Like, who else could be Jimmy? It's again, off the comic page.
Yeah, he's perfect. He's really funny. Did you ever see the Vacation reboot? That movie.
I saw it once.
I feel like it got a bum rap. I thought it was hilarious, and he's hilarious. And
I remember it being very funny. Like, funnier than I expected it to be.
It was, yeah, and he was on Santa Clarita Diet, which was also really funny. So yeah, I've always just liked him. I think he's great, and so when he ended up cast as Jimmy, I was all for it. He's really good. So yeah, more of him. I also loved the scene where Clark comes into the Daily Planet at the very beginning. I will say we don't get a lot of public facing.
That was something I wanted to comment on as well that I forgot about before. Is like I would have loved, but again, the story doesn't allow for it, which is fine. But we really only get that one scene of quote unquote Clark Kent. The rest of the time, he's Clark privately.
Right. So yeah, but I thought his Clark is kind of what I expected, which is a little nerdy, but like certainly more real than the more extreme like Christopher Reeve version. But I loved him walking into the Daily Planet, and he got the front page story, and Steve Lombard giving him crap, and Kat's like, "You did great, Clark. I love it." And he and Jimmy, because they're buddies, been like, "Ah!"
Yeah,
Like I
while he's on
loved,
the phone.
yeah, like at his parents calling him, and like I just loved immediately you see the dynamic between Perry's like, "You're late again." Steve gives him trouble. Kat supportive, kind of flirty. He and Jimmy are pals. Like I loved getting the dynamic of every member as he walked through the office. I thought that was just a great scene.
Yeah, and that's another scene with Lois because it's like they almost play it like we're not supposed to know that she knows.
Yes,
But then it's in the trailers, like, you know, that she obviously knows. So it's just like, it's weird that they made that choice. But then, like, yeah, for the first 10 minutes, they play it like she doesn't know.
right.
And then I did like that she's sort of calling him, you know, even though they're together, she's still saying that his writing's not great, and that, you know, maybe Superman didn't make the right choice, and like just the way he's sort of eyeing her off, and he doesn't. He sort of looks a bit bumbling, but he doesn't do like the oh shucks and the voice or
Right.
anything. His voice is actually quite gravelly and raspy as you know, public facing Clark.
Yeah, he doesn't really
Like
change
he's a
his
bit
voice.
lighter when he's not that Clark.
How do you feel about the hypno glasses?
I mean, it is what it is. When I saw the headlines about it, but then it's also like it's again, there's comic precedents, and I guess it's a way of making not, you know, everyone not be an idiot. I guess. But it's one of those things. It's like, does he actually have that, or is that just Guy Gardner being a dick? You know, like it could play either way.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that is true because I also loved when Guy is telling Lois, and Lois is like, "Well, it's a good thing I already know this because why would you be telling me this?" And I also love when he's like, "Oh, so you know he's Clark Kent," and I love that Lois goes, "God, he trusts everybody."
Because he says when they're having the discussion in the kitchen earlier, like he's like, but the glasses, and she's like, yeah, but that's not gonna work forever, or so, or people will see through it, or something to that effect. So it's like, are they hypnotizing, or is it just, again, is that just Guy being a dick? Like yeah, it could go either way. Like it's Clark never says anything about it. They never show it. Like it's just Guy being Guy. So I don't put that much stock into it, to be honest. There's much more other things to talk about than that.
I mean, here's the thing. I have no issue with it. For me, I don't need it because I am a DC fan, so I accept the premise that
you just
Clark Kent is not recognizable as Superman. But I appreciate like for the now 80, 90 years of people being like, you really can't tell because of glasses, that James Gunn put that in there for those people of like, all right, you know, the glasses are not just glasses. They also, you know, do a little something extra.
Yeah. The monkeys doing the social media stuff. That was a bit of a social commentary if I've ever seen one.
Yep.
Hashtag super shit. We didn't talk about that.
You know that one irritates me.
That was funny in that scene. Super shit.
Metamorpho.
Yeah.
Metamorpho, I think, was great. You know, he's not in it a ton, but what he is, I think he's great. But I really loved like after Lex kills that poor guy, which I love the scene of that guy helping Superman out of the hole earlier. And so Lex immediately being like, okay, who's that? You know, obviously it's someone who Superman likes and using that against him. But anyway, after he kills that guy and you hear the weeping, and for a second I thought it was Superman.
Yeah, same.
And then it kind of pans up and you realize it's Metamorpho, and he realizes what he's truly gotten into here. And I loved that turn. I thought that was great. But it was one of those things where like then, you know, there's the big escape sequence of them getting out of the pocket universe with the river and baby Joey and Metamorpho and the raptors. Hey, at least one movie this summer actually has raptors in it.
That's true. Very true.
But that sequence I think is really cool, but there's a moment where like Metamorpho he turns himself into acid and explodes on the raptors, and then he's just like a disembodied head flying around. and I was like, and that was where I was like, yep, comic books, just got Metamorpho's head flying around. You better just go with it.
And see, this is one of the, and my mate Adam, who came with Jess and I tonight to see it, like, he said, the credits were playing, waiting for those scenes to come on. And I was like, what did you think? And he's just like, it's just such a James Gunn thing to take these obscure characters that the general audience have no idea about and making them cool. And the two, for me, the big ones, like, I know a little bit about Mr. Terrific, but like the most I've ever seen of him was in those couple of seasons of Arrow. And that was like a bit of a different take on it. And like Metamorpho, like when they announced that he was in the movie, I'm just like, I couldn't give less of a shit about Metamorpho. Like, I think I'd seen him in, like a couple of Justice League Unlimited things and maybe in a comic or two, but like, I don't care, like, why have him in this movie? This is so bizarre. But the way he used him and everything, like 5 minutes into him being in the movie, he turns and you feel for the guy.
Like,
you really do. I mean, I don't know. Is it Jay yours that's a big Metamorpho fan? Am I remembering that right?
Well, it's not like he's like, he even said, I'm not the world's biggest Metamorpho fan. I just can't believe we're getting Metamorpho.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, which same. I feel exactly the same. It's not like I've been, spending my whole life being like, put Metamorpho in a movie. But the fact that James Gunn put Metamorpho in a movie, I'm like, that's crazy and awesome.
Because, like, I'm assuming the woman he's sitting next to on the couch with the baby is his partner. And it's like, how does that work? Like, she's a smoke show as well. It's like, what's going on here? Because, like, it's like literally an alien baby. And because wasn't Metamorpho human to begin with? And then,
I mean that kind of goes back to what we said earlier, is like no explanation for how Metamorpho got that way. No explanation for why his baby's an alien. His wife seems to be human. No idea how any of that works. They didn't even go into it.
And like, I mean, that's a thing too, I guess. Like, for the most part, they've taken kryptonite off the board.
Yeah.
Which have that line of dialogue, but there's none left on Earth or anything. And Lexus is like, I've got a contingency for that too. And then, I mean, we saw sort of the blink and you miss it thing in the trailer where he's just in the background, but you were not meant to be focused on him in the trailer. But of course, like I said, we dissect these things, so we saw it. It's like, that's how Metamorpho came into play. And it's just like, what part of James Gunn's head was just like, you know what? There's not going to be any kryptonite and I'm going to use Metamorpho. It's just like bizarrely genius. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I also appreciate that kryptonite can often be a storytelling crutch when it comes to Superman.
Oh God, yeah.
And so it's like
Smallville.
Yeah, and so for James Gunn to be like, I don't want kryptonite to be the answer for everything. And so it does give a reason for Metamorpho, but then it also is not just the constant threat to Superman. So in the end, in that big finale, Lex is so smart, he has figured out a way to kill Superman without kryptonite.
Mm-hmm.
And that is with the nanites in his lungs. And I was like, oh, that is something we have never seen before. And when that was happening, I was like, oh, holy shit, that's actually a really interesting and creative way to be like, oh, here's how we can take Superman down.
Mm.
And in that moment, there's that part of me that's like, I kind of want another superhero to swoop in and help. But then the other part of me is like, no, Superman has to figure this out for himself.
Yeah.
And I love that he does. I love that he takes them up into space and brings them back down. And I thought that I was glad to see Superman thinking it through and finding a way out of it himself without the Deus Ex Machina of someone else swooping in to save him.
Mm. What about the president of, I can't pronounce the fictional country,
Moravia?
Yeah, no one saves him. Hawk Girl just kills him.
I know. That's fine. I don't like that guy.
The other thing too, like, because in this, like, she's not an alien. She's not
Hawk
from
Girl?
Xanagar. Yeah.
I mean,
because they actually make the line, like, because Lex actually says, because they talk about the metahumans, and he goes, yeah, but none of them are alien.
Right.
That's
right.
I'm like, oh, because then you see her, obviously Hawk Girl, you see her without the wings and everything, so it's part of her costume rather than her. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Interesting.
She could be from Thanagar, and they just don't know it. We don't know. They don't say.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. But yeah, it's just like they made her seem more human than
Yes,
what
yeah,
I'm used to.
for sure. I will say when we find out that the president of Baravia is in on it, and there's that moment where he goes in the office, the door closes, the portal opens. I thought he was going to transform. I thought it was going to be someone posing as the president of Baravia, and so Catherine's like, I thought it was going to be Clayface.
Look, if they hadn't announced a Clayface movie, given what that we know, but that's sort of going to be like the horror thing and everything. There was a moment I'm like, is this what other shapeshifter is there other than Clayface? But for a split second, I was with her.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily think Clayface. I just thought, oh, it's going to be a shapeshifter. But it turns out, no, it's just the president, and he's just in on it.
In cahoots with Lex.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I did have that moment. And I mean, speaking of like, and it was something I said previously on the last episode, where this is not a movie that is spending time setting up other movies.
No. I mean,
like, they're
even
almost
the Supergirl cameo doesn't set anything up.
Yeah, there are almost no cameos at all. There's a quick Peacemaker cameo on the news, which was funny. And there's Supergirl at the end, but that's really it. There is the street sign for Gotham City. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, how dare you? Who are you?
Where was that?
So,
well, now I just need to go back and see it again.
I guess you do. As you go into the third act and that rift opens up, and they said, this is an evacuation. This is not optional. This is mandatory. Everyone needs to leave the city. When that's happening, there's a shot of the freeway, and on the freeway is a big sign that's like, this way to Gotham City.
Huh. I completely missed that.
But that was cool. Made me happy. But aside from that, like, again, there's not a lot of like Easter eggs or setups or cameos that maybe I was expecting. And I think, again, that's where I compare it more to The Flash, where I went into The Flash being like, what if they did this? And what if Catwoman showed up? And what if they did this? And they don't do any of that. And I was like, oh, I like the movie, but I really was hoping they would do some of that stuff. This was kind of the same. And it's on me as a fan, where this is the launch of the new universe. And so all possibilities are there. And James Gunn was a man of his word. It's like, no, it's this story, and it is pretty self-contained. Yes, the rest of the DC universe is out there. They acknowledge that metahumans have been around for 300 years, so they're out there, but there isn't any just pop-ups of random other DC characters.
No, I mean, look, if you'd have told me a month ago that the post-credit scene of this movie wasn't going to set up something with Supergirl, I would not have believed you. I mean, that movie, is it in the can? Like, haven't they finished filming, haven't they?
Yep, they're done filming. So, but I think it was smart to give her cameo before the end credits, just in case.
Because, I mean, that could have been an end credit scene, like that actual part, it's just him talking to Gary, not number 4 anymore, Gary.
Right.
That's what he's listed as an IMDb too. But yeah, like there's East. I mean, I picked up obviously on the Jitters coffee.
Big belly burger, sure.
Like, and I'm sure, knowing Gunn too, like I'm sure probably the donut shop is from some DC comic. The cola billboard is probably from some DC comic, But I thought all that stuff was cool as well. But yeah, it's good and bizarre in a way, because we're just so trained now over the last 20 years or so that, particularly when we know there's another movie coming, that there should have been something that Supergirl comes and sees Superman and says, I've got to go to wherever the movie's set, or mentions Jason Momoa's character, Lobo, thank you. Name drops Lobo or something, because that in another universe / cinematic universe, or in or even this one 5-6 years ago, like that's what would have happened.
Oh yeah. And so again, it's a double-edged sword. I actually appreciate that He stuck to his word. He made this movie about Superman. It is that story, even though there are other heroes in it. They are there to serve this story. There is no random setup for something else. And so it's like, good. That's kind of how it should be. He said, you don't need to do homework. Like, things should stand on their own. And it does. But us, like you said, being trained for the past 15 years, or even longer at this point, of being like, oh no, but for a shared universe, of course you set up something else. Of course you do. And so now we have to shift our perspective, like,
Yeah.
but sometimes you don't.
Because I mean, look, the mid credit. I mean, it's barely a scene. Like, you get the shot of him holding Crypto on the moon,
Yeah.
looking at Earth, which we've seen the poster of. But but this, when Crypto hugs him, it's like, come on, like it's so friggin' cute.
It is. It is. And credit to listener Stephen Marshall, who kind of called that, where not exactly. He thought it was going to be, instead of getting the Superman flyby, he thought it was going to be that shot, and then both he and Crypto took off. But as the mid-credit scene, I'm like, you were pretty close, Stephen.
Yeah, and then like the end scene, it's just a gag, just to tag on the end there. It is what it is. Like, it's Superman referring to himself as a jerk, but you would have noticed, like, through the movie too, that you get quite a few like, oh gosh, from Superman. Like he doesn't curse.
Yeah. I think at the very beginning, when I think it's like after he gets healed by the sun in the fortress and he's getting up and he's about to go back into the fray, he sees that Crypto has destroyed a big part of the fortress and he goes, golly.
Yeah, he does.
which I think is great. You touched on it, but I think it's worth saying one more time for the people in back is Mr. Terrific has been a standout. I've seen a lot of love for Mr. Terrific, and rightfully so. He is certainly the one who gets the most to do.
Both Jess and Adam loved him.
Yeah, he was great. He delivers. I love that he is the one who teams up with Lois and is like, fine, okay, yes.
I'm just doing it because it'll piss off Green Lantern.
Yeah, it'll piss off Green Lantern. But yeah, he becomes really the biggest standout of the Justice Gang, even though I really enjoyed the other two as well. But yeah, I mean, that action scene of him taking out all the Raptors while Lois is in the force field is awesome. And I really love the moment where he grabs onto the T-sphere and it lifts him up and drops him down on the other side. That was just like, oh, that's so awesome.
Like, I've never seen Mr. Terrific do anything like that in any medium. Like, he's badass. I love it. But it's played for laughs and it's funny, like, when they're trying to find him in the pocket universe, he's still like, God damn. Like, Lois, if you found him, he's like, him and an alien baby, a flying dog, and a squiggle man.
Yes.
That was really funny.
Squiggle man. Yeah. So yeah, Mr. Terrific, a bit of a scene stealer, as well as Jimmy. Those are the two I've seen been getting the most love outside of the core three and Crypto. So I'm glad to see that as well. That was really cool. Cause again, I'm like, we're talking about a Superman movie where people are going, I love Mr. Terrific. And what world are we living in that is true? Like,
you touched on Peacemaker's cameo, but like, have you paid attention to his dialogue in that?
I did the second time. The first time people were laughing too much. I didn't hear a thing. But the second time I heard a little bit more.
How he's just like, essentially that Superman and stuff, like they're jealous of him because he's like really jacked, and this whole spiel about like how he's bigger and better than them, and essentially,
it was something about like oh, they're on their high horse and they say they don't kill unless they absolutely have to. It's like, unlike some of us edgier guys. It was something like that.
Yeah, but it's something about. I know there was some part in there about like him just being better than them because like his muscle's real or something like that. Like, very funny.
I will say also, I have liked the new Superman suit, but in the movie, I like it even more. It really worked for me. I just thought it looked great in the movie.
And look, it creases and crinkles and folds and stuff like that. Like, it's not a skin tight CGI thing. Like, it's a real suit, and they didn't, quote unquote, fix it in the way that I think a lot of us thought they would, if that makes sense.
I mean, I guess it did, but I didn't really notice a lot of.
I mean, it did, but I didn't care. Like, I didn't like pull me out of the movie or anything, but it's just like there are some times when you see it and it's like, well, yeah, it's a guy wearing a suit. Like, it's gonna do that.
But I mean, the thing that I really loved again in the movie, I just loved the colors.
The colors, yeah.
I loved how the colors popped. I don't even think twice about the different logo anymore because now I'm used to seeing it. And
so used to seeing it everywhere with the marketing stuff at the moment
that I forgot that, oh, that's right, they did do the Kingdom Come logo. And I really loved the title card of the film where you get the prologue of the Fortress of Solitude and Superman getting healed, and then when he goes back out into the fray, the logo fills the screen, and then you get Superman. I thought that was really
which is
cool,
the throwback, obviously, to the way the credits are is a throwback to 78 as well. That
yes, but like
everything.
Yes, but like not off of his chest, which I thought was
no. Yeah, I don't mean that, but yeah, I loved it. Yeah, exactly how his logo fills the screen, and then sort of you get the superimposed over the top. And I really noticed in the end credits tonight too how it does it again, but like the logo spins. It does this weird like spin in the end credits before it comes up with again that Superman title card.
Oh, okay,
really cool. Yeah. Again, something else I didn't notice. Yeah, I thought I was probably too busy checking stuff on my phone or talking. But yeah, I was looking at the screen more tonight, and yeah, the logo does this cool spin. So check that out when you see it again too.
I will. I saw it in IMAX last night, and the kaiju fight in IMAX was the highlight, especially when Superman is like flying around the kaiju through the flame, in and out. That was the part where I went, whoa, this is so cool.
I'm hoping to see it next weekend on Screen X. So we'll see.
Is that the one that surrounds you? That's like the 180?
That's the one that's really, really wide. And there's like, you see extra stuff.
That's cool.
Because yeah, like I went and saw Frozen Empire on Screen X last year. It's the one and only time I've seen it. And I walked out of that movie.
Best movie of 2024.
Yeah, for me anyway. And I walked out of there going, I need to come back here for Superman next year. I just reckon it's going to be epic. And from what I've seen, on like the regular size cinema screen, I reckon it will be. So I'm really hoping to get along to that next weekend with a couple of friends as well. So yeah.
Sweet. I don't know if I'm going to get to go again because I don't think I'm going to take Harley. So I would love to go once more. I just don't know how feasible it is. How? I don't know if I'm going to.
The most forgiving, like enabling wife in the world.
That's true. That's why she's my favorite co-host.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. But anyway, we are at 2 hours, so we didn't touch on everything. We touched on a lot, but let's give some final thoughts and letter grades for Superman. Go for it, Brendan.
Well, I tell you what, seeing it again tonight and then coming straight home and talking about it with you makes me. I just want to it's 12:30 in the morning here at the moment, so I still just want to drive back to the cinema and hopefully sneak in. I just want to watch it again. I really do. Yeah, you know what, man? I think I'm at love. I really do. I think I'm at love with it, and I'm happy about that. And it's a Superman movie that I didn't know that I needed or wanted. And I think the fact too that not just from DC, but with Marvel as well, there hasn't really been a hell of a lot for the last, 18 months, 2 years. And this seems to be the one that people are latching onto. Mm-hmm. Obviously Marvel have got their big release for the year in a fortnight, but Superman's got 2 weeks pretty much to himself.
Mm-hmm.
And word of mouth on this one's been really, really good. And box office so far has been really, really good. And, your Rotten Tomatoes and all that sort of stuff. Not that, pardon me, not that I personally give a shit about that normally, but man, a lot of people do. And it's doing really, really well. And, look, the week leading up to this, actually, even from last Sunday when we recorded the ranking the Superman movies, the couple of days between there and the movie coming out, I was really nervous. I was. And
I know. We've been through it. It's PTSD.
And and also there was those, those two apparent reviews that broke embargo, and they were really negative, and it's just like, oh fuck, here we go again. I was really, really, really worried, and it's a Superman movie. There are other problems in the world, but this really had me concerned. And as the day arrived and I started seeing some more reactions, and that you guys had seen it, and listening to your spoiler-free review and everything, like, I was like, I think we might be okay. And this, to me, hasn't been a case of, again, where we think we're okay, and then we go and see it opening day, opening weekend, whatever, and we all love it and talk about it and rave about it. And then it gets to Monday morning and you're like, oh shit. Oh, okay, people didn't like this. That's not going to happen with this. And it makes me really, really, really happy. And yeah, I saw it 48 hours ago. I saw it again today. And after the second viewing, I really can. I genuinely think I can say I love it. I really, really do. It's a really great Superman movie. It's a great comic book movie. And I mean, look, even compared to Marvel stuff, like it's maybe one of the most comic book movies that's ever been made. Like, it's very comic book.
I won't say no other movie is as comic book, but I don't think any movie is more comic book.
And particularly, again, like I said before, like, particularly from the DC side of the fence, like, this is the most comic book that we've ever had. And it's yeah. If you haven't seen it, go out and see it. If you have seen it, go and see it again. And yeah. That's all I got, nice. Man. I could go for another half hour, but I won't.
So what's your letter grade?
A.
Okay.
I don't think I can go A. I mean, what is 5 stars? Is that considered an A plus? Like,
I consider 5 stars an A plus.
Okay, well then we'll go A plus.
Oh, you're gonna bump it up to 5 stars?
Yeah, like I said, I was at 4.5. I said before, like, I think it's earned that extra half star. So I'm going 5 stars. So A plus.
Right. So I mean, I sound like the Debbie Downer because I was 4 out of 5, which it means 8 out of 10, which I think is a perfectly appropriate rating for this. But like I said, I liked it even more the second time. But I mean, it's everything that we already talked about. I won't belabor the point, but yeah, had an absolute great time with it. Loved it even more the second time. Would love to see it again. Talking about it with you makes me love it even more. So all of those are good things. And it is exciting to get a very different type of Superman movie that, we can have a great time with, but it checks almost all the boxes. I still have those couple little nitpicks, and that's fine, but they are minor in the grand scheme of things because I think this is an incredibly entertaining, well-meaning, and fun as hell Superman movie that I am excited we get to add to our list of Superman movies that we can revisit for years to come. I can't wait to show it to Harley when it does come home because, like you said, I think there are going to be a lot of parts that she likes. Especially with Crypto. If you love Crypto, boy, is this movie for you because Crypto is not just a cameo. He is in the entire freaking movie. But yeah, just an absolute great time. And I'm really, like I said, do I love it yet? I think I love it, but again, I like it more and more. The more I think about it, the more we talk about it. It's excellent. And yeah, so hooray. It's nice to have a win. I mean, as the launch of the new DC universe, this movie, it is important that this movie works, regardless of what James Gunn says. I appreciate that he's like, it doesn't have to. Not everything is riding on Superman, but I don't know. I think it kind of is. And it's great that the reviews are great. The reaction is very, very good. And so, yeah, we've got a big crowd-pleasing Superman movie in theaters that you can go see and have a great time with. So hopefully hopefully you're going to go back, and hopefully that word of mouth does continue to spread. And, we have something to be excited about from the DC side of things, which, like you said, I feel like it's been a minute since we've had that. We've been dealing with a lot of disappointment over the last few years. It's nice to have an unmitigated win on the DC front. So Superman is out. I've got it 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which is an A minus, which maybe sounds low, but I don't think that's low.
I think so.
I think that's totally fine. Yeah. And Jamie did say after he sent his reaction, he goes, "Oh, I probably should have given a letter grade. I would be at an A-."
Okay.
He also said that he's like, "I was relieved when I read your letterboxed because it was totally fair. It was 4 out of 5." He goes, I was afraid I was going to be the only one who's less than 4.5. So I was glad that you were." And I'm like, no, I think 4 out of 5 is perfectly appropriate and respectable. So he and I are very much on the same page there. So Superman is out there. Hope you guys are having a great time watching it. And this will not be the last time we talk about it. Y'all know there's going to be plenty of questions, thoughts in the Wayne Manor mailbox. You can send those to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com because we're going to get into them next time. I would like to get a couple of these Batman Begins ones out of the way, though.
Yeah, no, go for it.
We can do them pretty quick. So here we go.
Look, Henry's sleeping over at a family friend's place tonight. It's just me and Jess. I can sleep in the morning, so let's do it.
Great. All right. Well, then let's go. Let's check in with you, fine feathered finks, and crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for the Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
What is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger. This is all Master Wayne.
So all these Superman ones, I'll go ahead and save them for next time because that's what we're going to do. But we got some Batman Begins ones from our commentary a couple episodes ago, and I want to get those out of the way. So this one comes from Chris Jansen. It says, "Hey, Andy and crew. I love the Batman Begins 20th anniversary watch along. I'm actually one that watches it with you guys. I got to say, I love the show and continue to enjoy it year after year. Also, I laughed my ass off with bed titties. I'm glad I'm not the only one that sees it every time I rewatch it. And the 6 bed titties was icing on the cake. I appreciate you guys. Sincerely, Chris." Thanks, Chris. And yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the Batman Begins watch along, and you get extra credit for actually watching it with us. All right, next message is from Eddie Bolton. That says, "Hey guys, apologies for the long email. I try to keep them short, but Batman Begins deserves my all. I love the commentary for the 20th anniversary. I thought you might like to hear a story I have related to it. Firstly, you might not know how many Irish actors are in the film. I'll keep it to characters who have speaking lines, but a lot of the extras were Irish too. The obvious ones are Liam Neeson and Cillian Murphy, but here are some others. Gerard Murphy is Judge Faden. He's famous in Ireland for playing a pilot in an episode of Father Ted. Risteard Cooper is the cop in the GCPD who says, they say it was just one guy or a creature. He's famous in Ireland as a comedian. Jack Gleason, a.k.a. Joffrey, is Irish. Joe Hanley, one of the Scarecrow's thugs, who asks, is it true what they say that he can fly? A theater and soap actor in Ireland. There's a heap of others, but it's crazy how many there are. One benefit of Ireland being so small is you run into familiar faces all the time, and I've seen Cillian Murphy having a pint on the streets of Dublin a few times. I also worked with previously mentioned Joe Hanley on a stage version of The Shawshank Redemption. We worked together for a month straight, and at the wrap party, I finally grew a pair and told them that Batman Begins is my favorite film of all time. He seemed delighted to talk about it and told me he approached Nolan during a setup and mentioned he had heard rumors that the Joker would appear in the next one. Nolan said anything's possible, and Joe gave him the biggest Joker smile he could muster, to which Nolan laughed and said, we'll let you know. It was very cool getting a first-hand story from the set. I've met Jack Gleason before, too. There's a comedy troupe in Dublin that take famous film scripts, rewrite them, and perform them live. They performed Batman Begins a few years ago, and Jack Gleason reprised his role as the young Narrows kid. He ran out twice during the reading, gave out his 2 lines, and ran off again. I also got a signed version of the script from him afterwards. Lovely guy. Anyway, apologies for how long this has been, but I thought you'd enjoy hearing some stories related to one of, if not the best superhero film ever made. All the best, Eddie. Thanks, Eddie. And no, that's very cool. I love the stories. That's really fun that, not only are there this many Irish actors, but you have had run-ins with multiple ones. That's super cool.
That's, really cool. I'm, pretty jealous, actually.
Yes. Awesome. So thank you for sharing, Eddie. I love it. All right, next email is from Ron Messbarger. It says, "Hey, Holy BatCast family. Recently, you were talking about superhero toys that your children have and enjoy. I wanted to highlight the Imagine Next sets. My kids love them. They have so many characters and play sets. Sadly, my children have outgrown them, so we're keeping them, hopefully, for grandkids in the distant future. Thanks as always for the fantastic show, Ron." Thanks, Ron. Yes, those are super cool. Great call. Imagine X. Do you know those, Brendan?
Yeah, I think I do. I'm just going to do a quick Google and make sure they're what I think they're like. The little figures, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like little figures, but they're not the little people. They're a little more proportionate. They're a step between little people and like an actual action figure.
Yep. They're the ones I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, I love those, and yeah, Harley has a few of those too. Santa brought them last Christmas, so that's a good call.
Yeah, Henry doesn't have any of those yet. He's still just got the little people stuff, and then some of my hand-me-down action figures.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of Aaron Cajanto, he wrote in as well. He says, "Good day, team. I hope you're well. With James Gunn leaning into the John Williams Superman score due to how iconic it is, how do you think they'll approach Wonder Woman? Is the Zimmer score iconic enough? Is it too soon? Anyway, hope you all enjoy Superman." Thanks, Aaron. So, interesting question. I will say, again, the Superman score, which I loved, yes, it absolutely leans into John Williams, but I think not as much as I was expecting, or maybe it's just because it's done in a different style where I thought they did a nice balance personally. But the question is about Wonder Woman, Brendan. Do you think that the Zimmer score is iconic enough that they would carry that over?
Jeez,
or what do you think?
Aaron? Christ, man, why are you doing this to me? That's a really good question. I mean, it's tricky though because it's kind of really the only. I mean, not counting the TV show because that's different. She's really only had the one theme, hasn't she? Like, but it is pretty kick-ass. I mean, look, I personally wouldn't have a problem with it because I friggin' love the Wonder Woman theme. Yeah, it could go either way with that one, and I wouldn't complain either way. Curious to know what you think, being the score whore.
Yeah, I absolutely love the Wonder Woman theme, and I think it's awesome. I believe that she will get a new one in the new universe. I don't think it's been iconic enough, long enough that people would immediately go, "Oh, well, you have to have it." The way, I mean, it was the John Williams theme for Superman for,
and that's the thing, like
how
it's
many
a time
years,
thing,
right? Yeah. So yeah, I would expect that they would create a new one for her, and we will just have to enjoy the Zimmer one in the previous universe.
Yeah, like I said, it would. Yeah, I love that music though. So that part of me is being greedy and wanting to see it again. But yeah, like it's a time thing, isn't it? Like, you know, it hasn't got the reputation. It you know, with fans like us, it's got a great reputation, but it doesn't have that broader audience reputation.
Right. It's not like, I couldn't go hum that to, you know, Catherine's mom, and she would say, "Oh, that's the Wonder Woman theme," but I could do that with the John Williams theme.
Yeah.
All right. Next message is from Dave Chambers. It says, "Hey, Holy BatCast. I can't believe it's been 20 years since Batman Begins came out. I was in between junior and senior year of high school when the movie came out, and I'll be honest, I wasn't looking forward to it. By that time in my life, I was on the hate train for Batman and Robin, and I was not excited for another Batman movie. Boy, was I wrong. This movie, to borrow the phrase, changed things forever, and it's still my favorite Batman movie. Apologies, Batman 89. I remember being in the theater and just being mesmerized that they were finally doing it. They finally brought the Batman from the comics to the big screen. Sure, we had a black suit and an odd-looking Batmobile, but they had done it. And not only that, but they had brought with them Wayne Enterprises, Lucius Fox, Gordon, Alfred and Bruce's relationship. I was very happy. To this day, the Begin suit is my favorite on-screen bat suit, and Bale's performance as the Dark Knight and Bruce Wayne is peak Batman. Just a few of my thoughts on the 20th of such an amazing movie. Thanks, Holy BatCast crew, for keeping the bat signal shining. Dave Chambers." Thanks, Dave. And definitely appreciate your thoughts and your celebration of Batman Begins. I mean, can't argue with any of that. We freaking love it too, as you heard. And yeah, it was so interesting going into it back in 2005 with varying levels of excitement, and then walking out just being like, holy crap, boy, did they nail it.
Yeah, I'm not going to fight you on any of that. It's spot on.
Yep. So thanks, Dave. All right, this next one here, also about Batman Begins. This is from Ren. It says, "Hey, Bat Brothers, hope all is well. Thank you for the commentary for Batman Begins. It's my favorite live-action Batman movie, not titled The Dark Knight." Oh, that's fair. I was excited during the build-up of the film for the from the early pictures of the Tumbler and Bale in the Batsuit to the teaser trailer with Bruce's haunting monologue that Jonathan Nolan wrote specifically for the trailer. I wish it would have been included in the movie. Regardless, the film is a masterpiece, and I'm glad that it was done justice on the show. During the commentary and other episodes, Andy and Brendan have called for McFarlane to make a Panther suit action figure from Batman Forever. The recent scuttlebutt is that not only is that figure in the works, but McFarlane also has a 90s Flash figure, an 89 Batwing, and Penguin's duck vehicle from Returns in development.
There you go, Andy.
Hey, of those rumored items, what would you be most excited for? Thanks always for the incredible work, and keep shining the bat signal bright. All the best, Ren. Thanks, Ren. Thank you for your thoughts on Batman Begins. Yeah, I don't think we got into the monologue in the teaser trailer. That's a great call. So thanks for calling that out. That was specifically written by Jonathan Nolan for the teaser. Super cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then the scuttlebutt is that McFarlane, before they lose the license, they're going to do a Panther suit. They're going to do 1990 The Flash. They're going to do a 89 Batwing and the Penguin's duck. So I think I know the answer, Brendan, but of those, what would you be most excited for?
The duck, obviously.
That is the correct answer.
the Panther suit. Like, yeah. I'm just looking at my Forever shelf now, and it's just like, I don't hate the Sonar one that they did, but like the colors are all weird, and it's just like, I need that Panther suit, damn it. I really want a 1/3 scale cowl as well. And look, I'd take the Sonar suit for that. Like, yeah.
That's true. Well, of the things you name, honestly, I would be most excited about the 1990 The Flash. Because, yes, I want a Panther suit, but the vehicles, I tend to not get the vehicles because they're just too big and I don't have space. Yeah. As cool as a Batwing and a duck would be, I just don't know where the heck they go. I would love a Panther suit. I hope that's true. But yeah, the 1990 John Wesley ship, The Flash, McFarlane, hell yeah, I'd be so into that. So, along those lines, I keep waiting for the pre-order for the Returns line.
Yes.
And I have seen nothing. Every week or two, I Google it just to make sure I didn't miss it. So anybody out there listening, Bat friends, Bat family, if you guys hear of when the pre-order goes up for the Batman Returns McFarlane toys, please tell me. I need to make sure I don't miss them because I need those. Keep me posted if you guys have heard anything, but I keep Googling it and finding nothing. Anyway, all right. Well, it seems like the next batch of emails are mostly Superman. So I'm going to go ahead and do it there so you can get to bed and I can go make sure that my children are not driving my wife crazy. There are a lot of emails left. If you do have something, again, the next episode is going to be probably in 2 weeks. So write in your Superman reactions, thoughts, and questions, because I think the next one will just be dedicated to addressing Superman follow-up questions, feelings, all that. So please send those to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com. But that will do it for this episode for now. Brendan, thanks for staying up late so we could chat, hang out, talk Superman.
Not a problem. It's been a bloody great time.
It has. It's always exciting.
Yeah, the timing of it worked out really well. Like literally walking out of the cinema, coming home, and then sitting down to record was really fun.
It was nice and fresh in your memory.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I came home from watching it last night, went to bed, woke up, and recorded. So more or less the same thing.
Yeah, say pretty much the same.
More or less. Anyway, anywhere else we can find you?
On Facebook in the Real Fans groups and on Letterboxd.
Awesome. Well, I already told you guys where to find me. and the show as well. But thank you for joining us. As always, we appreciate it. Please do follow or subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. If you love the show, something else that you can do to help us out is to rate and review us. A 5-star rating goes a long way. It really helps us out, gets the word out there, helps the algorithm, all that crap. It only takes a second, doesn't cost a penny, and it is the quickest and easiest thing you can do to help us out. We would love it. Again, find the show on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. It's just Holy BatCast. And if you got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, that email address, again, is holybatcast@rf4rm.com. Our theme music was created by the talented Gaurav Venkateswar. You can find his work at gvtunes.com. But that will do it for this super episode. On behalf of Brendan and Jamie, who is here in spirit, and he did send us his reaction, on behalf of both of my Bat brothers, I've been Andy. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Same Bat time, same Bat channel, /super time, /super channel, all the same. You know. See you then.
Hashtag super shit.
Hashtag super shit. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for. After the movie last night, we went to Taco Bell. So this morning I had a super shit.